once again, welcome to the PokerStars Arena and the Spring Championship of Online Poker. Execute Event 66. To be fair, last night we brought you 66 high, now it's all about 66M, the $530 Sunday Million PKO. Started on Sunday with more than 3,000 entries, played down to a final table last night, now we play down to a winner with 9 players remaining. Hello everyone, it's James Hartigan alongside Joe Stapleton.
Hello my babies.
Would you like to see, Joe, the lineup at this final table, the final 9 from a starting field of more than 3K?
Of course I would. I like my poker the way I like my burgers, medium and covered in mustard.
Well, rumor has it that little Junio has a mustard stain on his t-shirt. I can't back that up with any evidence. We do have our first hand of the FT, Joe, and we have gone to the turn, and it is John HF90 versus Phyllis PL, who, and here is a hashtag fun fact, which is blatantly obvious from that user ID, is playing from Poland.
Ah, Plend. This is the most boring hand I've seen in a while. What's going on?
Well, John has just rivered a full house.
Just used to there being a knockout every hand.
Yeah, I will remind you, as John gets a call there from ace high and wins the first hand of the FT, last night's final also started slow. The first 20 minutes or so, not a lot of action, and then it all kicked off. We've got Smith Student here opening with queens. I imagine that the chip leader, Elmerix, will give Smith Student action. Talking of action, let's get Nick Walsh in on the conversation to analyse what's happening at this PKO FT. How are you doing, sir?
I am so good. I haven't seen you guys in a little while. I'm very happy to be back in the arena. How's it going?
It's going
up,
well. You missed a turbo last night, Nick. We were done inside of 2 hours. We'll talk about it with Howard a bit later on, but it was lightning fast, incredibly dramatic, chips flying left, right, and center.
Actually, no, they were all flying one direction.
That is true.
It was like
the
that,
guy
it
who
was
won
like
it.
one of the first scoops that I did with you guys as well. That was a speedy one as well. I think that might have been a PKO final, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we've had some fast final tables over the course of the series. Of course, we've got a couple of FTs to cover this event tonight. We've got the 10K Super Tuesday High Roller tomorrow, and then next week it's all about the No Limit Hold'em main event. So we've got some non-final table coverage as we follow the bubble and late stages of that 10K tournament. I think those play days, those streams might be a bit longer. We have got kings versus queens here. We saw this a couple of times last night. A sheer cooler as we see R. Karagassi opening with the kings, and it's Phyllis PL with the queens.
So 7 million is 20 big blinds.
I was just doing the same thing, Joe.
14 million is 40 big blinds. Is this maybe too many big blinds to get it in? Yeah, okay.
I was going to say, I think these guys are deep enough where they're going to play it very, very cagey, even a hand as strong as queens in this situation. And, you know, queens is a hand that has tons and tons of playability, right? So it's not like you're going to be making ginormous mistakes by flatting, and you're also not going to be afraid to take some flops and, you know, allow your opponent to catch up a little bit. But you have to be careful. Sure enough, king high board, top set for kings.
Oh, but I do like the fact that we've got 3 spades out there. So Phyllis does have the flush draw. Should point out it's second pair for Bonbon playing from Ukraine. So R. Karagassi is a Brazilian player. Brazil having enjoyed a lot of success in Scoop so far. 450K in PokerStars earnings and had a 3rd place in a Sunday Million earlier this year.
This would be the Sunday Million to do slightly better in.
Absolutely. Well, we've gone to the turn. Heads up, and kings now a 4-1 favourite. A set of kings, I should say, up against the flush draw of Phyllis.
Kicks a lot who said ace hits the flop. Watch. I'm really glad an ace didn't hit the flop because I would have banned you assuming that you were doing spoilers. So just be careful with stuff like that, guys.
I mean,
Far
I'm
more
assuming
generous.
our friend here probably wants to put in another bet, right? You got an extremely strong holding. You're very, very vulnerable to an additional spade here. And, of course, even if you are beat at the moment, any 10, any 6, any king, any 4 is looking real good, too. So he does size up. That's about 3/4 pot, if I can do the math really quickly here. And
gets a
sure enough,
fold
taking it down.
on the turn. So Karagassi up to nearly 20 million. We referenced already that Elmerix, Tommy Brook playing from Finland, is the chip leader coming in to this final table. A player who's got $5.9 million in PokerStars earnings, already has a scoop title to his name, and 3 runner-up finishes. That scoop title came earlier this series in a 2K No Limit Hold'em event for just shy of 60K.
Can we just give a little bit of credit to Phileas right there for losing so little? I mean, granted, the board was pretty bad for queens, but, I mean, didn't put in an extra bet pre-flop, called once with the big spade draw, and then just nonchalantly ditches the queens on the turn. I think that just, that's quite disciplined.
I think it's really cool. I think you're right, Joe. That's definitely a spot where he wants to control the pot. You have to be aware of when you're beaten. I don't imagine that that's texture where you're going to get tons of second barrels as just complete airball bluffs, right? So he's getting a lot of information by playing his hand slow, and like I said, he's avoiding doing a stack on a final table when these pay jumps are so significant. I mean, I'm looking around the table right now. I don't think anybody is particularly short, you know what I mean, apart from perhaps Lacerda P there. And even then, they still got some play. They still got, I wouldn't say they're in the danger zone just yet. So, yeah, very, very nice little controlled situation there. Ace-7 of spades picking up the spade draw on the turn here.
Always a sweat on the turn, and 27% equity up against the pair of 10s of Bonbon.
Something else I want to mention is this buy-in is 1/10 what yesterday's was, but look how big the bounties are anyway. The bounties are only about half as big, maybe even, I'd say, 2/3 as big as yesterday's because of the sheer number of people that entered. So we should still have some really sick bounty pots being played as well.
Yeah, good point, Joe. 3,000 total runners. That was 2,202 unique players with 846 re-entries as the board not only bricks out for Karagassi, but it gives Bonbon 2 pair.
I think the Jack of Diamonds might actually be a decent card for Ace-7 of spades to continue. I think at this point, your opponent's going to have a lot of 10x, maybe some pocket 9s, pocket 8s, that kind of thing that might check flop and then come along turn. So another barrel here I think would be cool, but I think the Jack is also a card that might complete some second pairs. They might have checked behind on the flop with maybe Ace-Jack or some sort of a weird gut shot that contained a Jack, or maybe even Queen-Jack if they want to be really, really cagey. So it is an overcard to a 10, which does make it a card that might be a good continue, but I can also appreciate it's not the best card. Like it maybe a brick might have been better to continue to try and rep the king, but I think a 10 still calls a lot.
What is this bet?
4.7 into 6 million. It is chunky. It is polarizing. Is it the kind of bet that's going to elicit an ace high hero call? No.
Seems pretty standard.
So ace queen
Nick?
for little Junio.
So I saw a social media clip of you spinning a pretty big jackpot on the spin and go, but I didn't see the conclusion of the hand. What do we have to do if we want to see, not the hand of the match, like what do we have to do if we want to see the rest of that?
So, those of you that have been following along, I have kind of officially started doing my YouTubings. So there's a highlight reel that actually is just an amalgamation of the first couple streams that I did, and then I'm going to sort of fill in the gaps from there. But I'm also starting a new series on YouTube that's called 500 or More Club. And basically, if we ever have a situation where we're playing for more than $500, I'm going to try and upload the entirety of the game to YouTube from each individual hand, as it's played, so you can see all of it. If you guys want to watch all of it, it was only for $500. It wasn't the biggest spin I've ever seen, but it's on the YouTube channel, Nick Walsh TV, and you can see every single hand that was played and all of the spin if you want, Joe.
And what was the buy-in level that you spun 500?
That was a $100 buy-in, so it was only a 5x multiplier. It was one of the last that we played in that first week. But basically, the criteria is if I'm playing for more than $500 and I don't play like a complete whale, we're going to upload it in its entirety, or at least try and include all of the important hands if it's an MTT or something like that.
I love the fact you threw in that little caveat at the end. It's basically, if we're playing for a significant sum, and I also don't make any really stupid mistakes, it will be uploaded to the internet. Obviously,
Nick,
if I
I've
completely screw it up.
Nick, I've noticed you haven't uploaded anything in nearly 8 months. What's have you just been spinning badly, or?
I've had loads of major opportunities, guys. Just played like a whale. Decided not to look back. Actually, that's funny though, because one of my biggest multipliers in recent years was for 6,000, which I watched it back 1,000 times. I did the same thing for OP as I'm doing now. I uploaded all of it to YouTube, and I was like, guys, I feel like I played strong here. Didn't win it, but there you go. This is a learning exercise. I'm sure YouTube will understand. I got decimated. Worst poker I've ever seen. You should quit playing. My mom plays better than you. My wife plays better than you. She plays 5 cent, 10 cent. It was savage. And so, I will upload if it's a good game, and I'm losing anyway. It's not always winners.
So that 3-bet will win the pot for Daniel Peterson, a.k.a. Starwins, playing from Denmark, who is also, coincidentally, at the final table of a 5K event that's resumed in the last half hour, is a previous Scoop champion, a player with 2.3 million in live earnings. And this is Phyllis, opening with ace-queen of clubs.
Starwin's smiley face. Man, imagine if PokerStars decided to only upload the streams where I don't make any mistakes.
We actually want to have an archive.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the highlight reels will keep all the stupid stuff in and all the memes in. That's for the fun, and it's going to be good. But the 500 over club is just for the big shots where I don't make a catastrophic mistake. If I make a mistake, I'm okay with that too, honestly. But yeah, look forward to more stuff like that, guys. I'm going to try and upload more regularly from now on.
Anyway, you're good. You're good at it. You're good at the social media. I saw the little clip. I saw the spin. It made me want to watch more. Well done.
Thank you, Joe. That actually means a lot to me because it's so time-consuming. I was on Premiere making that for ages. I'm like, this is a 15-second clip, not even. Cool. How much more time do I want to spend on this? But I learned something that day. It's all good. All right, blind v blind action. Queen 9 versus trade deuce of diamonds in the big. I don't mind a raise here from the big stack here, the 26 milli. I really like this hand. It's super deceptive. You can afford to be hyper aggressive here regardless. You could probably theoretically do this with like 80 or 90% of your range if you wanted, regardless, purely based on the ICM pressure that you put on this opponent. I don't think he's going to limp fold Queen 9, though. I think if he's going to play his hand as a limp, he'll probably call, which he does. Pretty straightforward C-bet here. You probably want to go a little bit on the bigger side, though, because you want to avoid getting floated by hands like King, Queen, and that kind of thing. So I think 700K is a pretty cool little quarter-y kind of situation. Not too small.
Well, now we know what that hammer's for.
So we are still at the 175, 350 blind level, then going to 200, 400. Shortest stack, Lacerda P, one of 3 Brazilians at this final table, the other 2 being Carragasi and Little Junio. Lacerda P, though, not quite in the danger zone.
This is you, the wings?
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's part of my new branding. You see it on the website and stuff. That's sort of like the icon, and then there's a cool logo in the actual video itself that sort of animates. It looks like a card. It's pretty cool. I spent a lot of money on it, so I hope you guys like it. I found a really sick graphic animator for his name is Dave. I'll share his details at some point if you guys are interested in creating some stuff yourself. But I was like, man, I love your work. He's like, I'd love to work with you. I really like poker, so we should do it. Got the bill. Was a lot more than I expected. Worth every penny.
Here we go, 200,000, 400,000 blinds, playing a 25-minute clock at this final table. Blinds will go up every 25 minutes. Phyllis PL has ace-5 suited.
Ooh, sourdough suited. Artisanal.
Let's go.
And we've got, what is ace-4? Does that have a name?
Fake aces.
It is interesting that Ace-4 chose not to come along here. I don't mind it, obviously, for the final table to be a little bit tighter there, but certainly a hand that you would usually open from that position, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, this is a true story. In my home game, RIP, my friend Lawrence did play Ace-4 thinking it was aces. Now, I know many players make that mistake. I would point out it was actually Ace-4 suited in diamonds. And it was pointed out to him that it would be impossible for there to be 2 ace of diamonds in the deck, which made his mistake even more ridiculous.
Referee in the chat says,
from,
I call Ace-4 ace-foe, as in a faux ace. That's cute. I like that.
Oh, yes.
I do like that.
Me too.
This is a pretty good flop for Smith Student. And I don't have any information on whether this player is actually a student. I do know they are playing from Azerbaijan and already have a scoop. Won a title back in 2020 in a $215 six-max event.
We're going to need the Azerbaijans and the Montenegros to get together and just hold off Brazil for as long as possible. Yeah, it's just mostly the rest of the world versus Brazil at this point.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to start doing some sort of summer camps, like adult summer camps in Brazil. Like you just head to Rio, you all stay in tents that have great Wi-Fi. You go get coaching on like how to c-bet flops and what sizings to use in the morning. Maybe like a water balloon fight in the afternoon, and then straight back in for some sort of post-flop technique. I think that'd be great.
I was on board with it all, and then the water balloon fight came from nowhere.
Well, James, what do you want? Like egg and spoon race? Like a salt course? The kind of things you'd expect from like a traditional summer camp, just with more poker, and then like a $10 million score.
I don't know how you could name all of that and leave out frog poison breakfast patties.
Well, this is a case of domination rotation. Elmerix has flop best here and now bets $1 million into $3 million with top pair, top kicker.
Ugh, God, so gross.
Ace King calls one street.
Ace Queen, the drawing hand, of course.
So gross. You're supposed to peel there with Ace King, and you're just like pretty much drawing dead.
Yeah, it is interesting because Ace Queen being in position can just have a complete airball here, but also with being the bigger stack, they can afford to just bet twice here so much because they're probably going to have Ace King, pocket tens, pocket jacks, that kind of thing here a lot. So you can really, really punish, right, in this situation. And look at the size, too, 1.6 into 5 milli. Like, oh, God, it hurts so bad. You don't want to be exploited, but also it's like, what are you going to do? You're in a relatively decent position at this stage in the tournament. Are you really going to call and face another bet on the river? It's just so tough.
And that will see Elmerix, Tommy Brook, move over the 30 million mark. 31 million, John HF 90, the second biggest stack at this final table with 10 million fewer chips.
Now I can't stop thinking about Nick's idea. Like I'm just thinking about like an all-inclusive resort in Mexico, like PokerStars branded. You show up, you're like, you've got a computer in your room, like the Wi-Fi stretches out to the infinity pool.
Joe, the idea was to try and learn something from Brazilian poker players. You've just suddenly transported this event to Mexico, which defeats the entire purpose of this camp running.
The Mexican camp is a lot cheaper than the Brazilian camp, but
I'm already defeating the entire purpose of it. Like they deliver food to your room or your tent or whatever on the 5-minute breaks. Like everything's ready to go. Like, oh, it would be so dope.
You're talking about a holiday. What Nick was
Yes.
talking about was basically a training camp for poker players.
Oh, I thought he meant like summer camp.
Yeah, it's like a summer camp for poker players in Brazil where they teach you how to be as good as the Brazilians of today.
There's an education element, Joe. That's where you're out, right? You have to learn something. You have to study stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross. I'm not going to learn
sevens.
Portuguese just to study charts.
Sevens still good here. Bonbon with the Broadway draw.
You just got to learn how to say all in Portuguese, and I'm sure the rest will be very straightforward if it's the Brazilians teaching us. Learn how to say aggressive, bet, and all in. That's all you need. Those are the only three words they need in Brazilian poker to teach you how to do it.
I mean, they would have to take a whole day just to teach you how to celebrate. Louder, louder, more running.
Yeah. What do you mean you
Flag
don't know the
waving.
song? Everybody knows this song. The whole country knows this song.
Ace King for Phylus and opens to 800,000. Will we get a defend from Little Junio with 8-7 offsuit is the question.
Thank you, John Delano.
Nope.
I'm just reminded of the chanting we saw on the final table of Monte Carlo recently. I mean, I don't know what song they were chanting, but it sounds like all of Brazil knew that one too.
Yeah.
My mom, for some reason, while she was on the rail in Monte Carlo, felt the need to text me updates, even though I was, arguably more across what was happening than what she was. And she texted me, "Oh, they're singing the soccer song now." I know, Mom. Thank you.
Is that before or
also,
after she fell asleep on the rail?
The updates that you were getting from her are going to be 30 minutes ahead of what you're seeing. Did you explain that to her? Did you try and explain how the whole delay works?
I explained it afterward when the event was over and she wanted me to leave, and I was like, I can't leave. It's still going for 30 more minutes.
Joe had to actually ban her on his phone to prevent spoilers in the commentary booth. It was horrific, guys. It was terrible.
Ace 3 versus King Queen and a pair of threes on the flop for R. Karagassi.
I feel like you can bet this with Ace 3 if you wanted to. Very often, even if you have like smaller pairs in these situations, not only are they very vulnerable because, of course, there's lots of overcards to the pair of threes, but also in the big blind, they can still have plenty of draws that will still call here, and also worse threes, 3-4 suited, 3-5 suited, King 3 suited, lots of those ones are in there for sure, even some offsuit combos too.
Ace Jack of Hearts. Bonbon, who is a
Raised with
high
ace
volume, low stakes sit and go player who had a decent score in a Bounty Builder Series event a couple of years back. A second place finish in a $215 buy-in tournament for 20K. Ooh, 3-bet from Karagassi with ace 8 suited.
Somebody's a little bored. This is a little optimistic. 3-betting the under the gun raise.
Look at the size, you guys. Look at the size. Not even a full 3x. There's a lot of pressure here, and even a hand as strong as Ace Jack suited, you're not feeling super comfortable at this effective stack depth calling 3-bets. I mean, you probably still should, of course. You don't want to be exploited. I'm not saying it's not what you shouldn't do. It's just very difficult to play back. And look at how effective that was, right, guys? Not even a full 3 big blinds, and he still gets the fold from a hand as strong and playable as Ace Jack suited under the gun. That is mahoosive.
Ace Jack for Little Junio. Raised to 800,000. And Bonbon. 7-5 in the big. Folds. One more hand. Then the opening session will come to a close. This is a button open from the chip leader with 7-5, but Bonbon's got jacks in the small. And the re-raise is to 2.9 million. I imagine we'll see a fold, and that will take us to the break.
This is a re-raise that we used to say reeks of jacks.
So a 5-minute hiatus in play. Nick, use the next 5 minutes to toast yourself a crumpet. I think I'm right in saying that this tournament and 66L are the last of the Sundays to conclude, because most of the big events from the weekend finished last night. So that means there's plenty to talk about with our Scoop correspondent. Yes, time to take our regularly scheduled overview of the Spring Championship of Online Poker. Stats, summaries, and stories courtesy of the PokerStars blog's Howard Swains. And here he is. He's got the looks, he's got the brains, he's Howard Swains. So Howard, I want to touch on the final table that we streamed yesterday, the 5K Titans PKO. It was a tad blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah, it was. What an incredible accomplishment for Dinesh out, though. He knocked out everyone at the final, and that was really reflected in the bounty haul. So he got nearly 160k in bounties alone. And if you compare that with Bowie Effect Andy Wilson, who finished second, he got 2.5k. So it really goes to show what you mean, what you need to do in these bounties is knock people out. So yeah, Dinesh out got 230k total. He didn't have a scoop coming into this series, but now he's got 2.
Now, on that subject, I believe we have our first triple winner of Scoop 2022.
You believe correctly, yeah. So the first person to get 2 is now the first person to get 3. Amibara, me. So he won the 2K No Limit 08 last night. And I think that was streamed on your Twitch stream earlier. So he won the first title in 2012, another one in 2014. And this year he has won 3. He also won a $109 6 plus event and a 1K 7 Max Hyper. He's also finished second in an event as well. So he could have had 4. It's been a really, really amazing performance. We always get double champions. We don't always get triples, but we just now have our first triple for this year.
All right, Howard, before we move on from the stats to the other stats, what happened to Finton last night? We went off the air. He was at a final table. If he asks, I was there the whole time. But did he win his 4th scoop? I need to know.
Well, you know, he was also finished 25th in another, and then the final table you're talking about is, well, you always think he finishes, he closes out final tables, but he didn't in this case. He came 4th. He was in the 5K PKO. It was won by UR Mellon, and Finton took 14k for 4th place.
So in a way, it was his 4th.
Yeah, I mean, he still only has 3 scoop titles, but yeah, pretty good. Yeah, he does get some kind of 4th place.
All right, Howard, impress me with the big-ass numbers.
Okay, well, I'll go pretty big then, shall I? We have completed 206 tournaments now. The prize pools are beyond $50 million, 51.6 million to be precise. Winners have got 8.4 million, and there have been more than 715,000 entries. I hope that's big enough.
Yeah, I'm impressed, certainly. Let's end on leaderboards, shall we? Country's leaderboard and then player of the series.
Brazil took a night off for them, really. They only won 2 titles, so it's 49, but it is still more than the next 3 combined. Patrick Leonard has at the same time extended his lead in the player of the series race, and I think I'm going to call this one. I don't think he is going to be caught.
Sorry, I've got to pick up on that. Brazil have more titles than the next 3 countries combined.
Yeah, they do have. I mean, it's been phenomenal. But when they only win 2, it still seems like they've sort of taken the foot off the gas a little bit. But yeah, just the 2 last night.
Okay, and we'll continue to follow that player of the series contest and see if Patrick Leonard closes it out. Howard, we will check in with you tomorrow night. For now, thank you very much.
Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
And of course, the winner of player of the series gets inducted into the Scoop Hall of Fame. Well, let's return to the final table of Scoop 66M. It's the final day of the $530 Sunday Million PKO. It started on Sunday. The name is the clue. Played down to the final table last night. 9 players have returned for the final day, and we are still 9-handed. Joe taking a break. Nick Walsh still with us on stream. Nick, relatively quiet action so far. No significant movement in the chips.
Guys out here with decent stacks, lots of reasons to remain. In fact, there's probably like 94,000 reasons to remain in this tournament right now. Lacerda now looking at around 4 million. So really the only one that I'm seeing who's going to be in the quote-unquote danger zone. As we return, guys, the blinds are 200, 400,000. So Lacerda there in the big blind, having put in an ante as well, is now looking at about 10 big blinds effective. So really the only player here who's under a lot of pressure. I mean, the next biggest stack is going to be Little Junio, something like that. They're just looking at around 30 big blinds effective, and at a final table, 30 bigs is just massive. We're still playing full ring here, guys. We're filling all the seats, so still a lot more opportunities to wait for hands, and lots of reasons to play slightly tighter from positions regardless, because you want to try and find those ladders. You want others to clash so that you can find a larger pay jump. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, Elmerix, who is the Finnish player Tommy Brooks, started this final table as chip leader and still holds the advantage right now with a stack of 30 million. Meanwhile, the red target symbol is against Bonbon's name, because Bonbon is the single biggest bounty up for grabs right now, 6.5K. This hand started with an under-the-gun raise from Karagassi. We've seen the 3-bet from Smith Student with Ace-Jack, a better ace than Karagassi's hand, and a fold from the Ace-9. And immediately follows it up with aces, but not sure Smith Student's going to get any action here, Nick.
I mean, the thing is, Lacerda does have the incentive to push a hand as strong as Ace-6 of spades. So if it folds, the thing is, if King-6 comes along here, and I think they might do, it kind of messes up the action for Smith Student a little bit here. If they had opened the button, Ace-6 suited could arguably be a snap push. Pocket 5's probably a lot less so as one of the larger stacks with the short stack directly to his right. So in this situation, he's probably going to end up 3-betting aces, which means Ace-6 gets pushed out, probably Pocket 5s gets pushed out. If it had folded around to him on the button, I think there's a chance we might have seen Lacerda get it in against one of the larger stacks, making a raise from a position where they're going to be super, super wide. But as played, I think you've spotted it. This is the sort of the outcome that we're going to expect. Probably a fold from King-6 suited as well. Wide tangle with another big stack when we've got a player with less than 10 big blinds coming into their final throws.
And Bonbon folds. Smith Student chipping up to around 20 million. Nick, you can tell me whether this is impressive or not, because you know the game better than I do. G-Man Creef says, just won a $135 bounty on a $2 kickoff. Is that good?
That is extremely, extremely good. Yes, that's definitely one of the larger payouts at that level. Obviously, every level, the opportunity to win bigger bounties increases. But as far as I've seen, it does seem like the players starting from lower buy-ins seem to hit some of those bigger sort of multipliers in relation to the lower stack stakes that they're playing. I've had quite a few people starting to play kickoff and then sort of, starting from the 1s or the 2s and finding a lot of those juicy ones. I would love to hit one of those at my stakes, guys. That would be great. I mean, so whatever that multiplier is, times that by 25, and then we're talking. Then we're talking some serious dollars. But well done, buddy. Very, very happy to see people grinding the kickoffs. And never fear. I'll be back to my normal schedule as soon as Scoop is over. You guys will see me back on Central every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, at least, with spinning goes and kickoff, and of course some MTTs as well thrown in.
Well, this is blind v blind. Little Junio with King 9 of hearts. John HF90, who I think is still officially second in chips. Yep, second on the leaderboard. Has Trey Deuce of clubs.
Again, James, kind of this, we've seen this sort of setup before. It was Queen 9 off versus Deuce 3 in the big blind. I think Deuce 3 suited is totally a fine hand to raise there as a bluff. King 9 suited plays a limp here I really like as well, because I think you can raise or call a hand as strong as this. If you're on the final table, probably more incentive to control the size of the pot and play from out of position with a hand that has excellent playability. I think leading here is cool. Sure enough, just stabbing 400K with the gut shot and the backdoor hearts is really nice. You're going to bet there a lot as a bluff regardless, the complete airball. So I think it's nice to have some semi-bluffs in there too. And look at this, Smith Student again with the aces.
Yes. Second time this orbit. Opens this time to 800,000. What does Starwinds do with ace-4 suited? But also, what does Little Junio do with nines?
Yeah, that was what I was really worried about. I think Starwind theoretically should probably be getting out of the way here a lot, although this is a hand that can be 3-bet, as we've seen before. Once the players open from this position, we saw ace-8 suited. Ace-4 suited is probably perfectly reasonable to 3-bet here. And there it is, sure enough. I do think it's totally fine. We see a lot of this play final table because, as we saw before, ace-jack suited opening under the gun, middle position 3-betting with ace-8 suited, and you're getting very, very strong hands to fold. I'm not sure aces is one of them. The question is there ever a flat here, James? So that would, the pot after that would be about 4,600,000, so about 5 million or something in the middle. So it wouldn't be difficult. Thank you very much. Confirmation. And the flat here is so cool because the SPR is only about 2 and a bit at this stage, so it's not hard to get the chips in once your opponent is c-bet. And on this texture, you're just never, ever folding, are you? You've got such a strong hand. If they have a 10, good luck to them. A lot of the 3-bets from this position probably don't contain 10x, though.
Starwinds continuing. 1.4 into 5.7.
Yeah, and as I said, if they flat here, I mean, SPR is just so juicy. You got 2 more streets to come to try and get additional value. I think if you have aces, you can go either way here. You can really protect your hand, or you can just let him fire off. And sure enough, he's going to go ahead and raise. If they do have a big hand here, I think they do just get the chips in, so you're not losing that much value against a straight cold deck if they have kings or queens. As played, though, really interesting spot, because I'm sure you could do this as a bluff as well if you wanted to. Nice, very nice. 24 million. Love the flat pre-flop. Very, very juicy.
Yeah. So Smith Student moving up to second place on the leaderboard behind Almerex, who still has the chip lead right now. Dana Craven has joined us on YouTube. Says, howdy, fellas and peeps. Hello, Dana Craven, a former Poker in the Ears superfan. And on that subject, and this is a public service announcement rather than a plug, there is no podcast this week. So I can't promote it because it's not happening. But there will be one the following week, which I guess is a plug, which will be our kind of Scoop series review. And will be one of our last podcasts before the summer break. But, of course, the entire back catalogue available on your podcast platform of choice. Top here for John.
Top. What? Hello, check raise. Yeah, you're not folding ace-10, but I appreciate the heart. But look at the back door, James. You got to continue the back door. You got the gut shot and the clubs. Oh, it's such a nice turn to just go again. There's no reason why he can't have a 6 here. He would probably check raise a 6 here a lot of the time. That is chunky. Let's go.
Okay. So having check raised the flop, Nick, we get this huge barrel on the turn. And if you are John, you are slightly worried that you could be up against a 6, right?
Yeah. I think a 6 is totally reasonable in this position. You have to be strong, make the call. It's whether or not at this point he's going to put in the third barrel. I love the check raise on the flop. I think it's ambitious. The check raise on the turn, in my opinion, is mandatory when you pick up so much equity. I mean, theoretically, James, he sized it in a way where he can shove and put him to the test for all of his chips here. And he could easily just have a 6. So I think this is totally believable.
Wow.
It's whether or not he wants to play that ICM. You know,
there it is.
Do it. I love this.
And before
John,
everyone starts saying easy call, first of all, Elmerix has played this in such a way that they could have a 6. But also, let's look across the table and let's look at Lacerda's stack. Lacerda playing fewer than 10 big blinds. I understand the fold. I understand it.
It's so righteous, James. It's so righteous. Oh, the final table pressure. He sized his bets perfectly. The check raise on the flop is so aggro. I'm here for it. The check raise on the turn is perfect. The fact he puts the rest in there is so awesome. I think maybe King 10 calls him there, but Ace 10 is going to get, you're going to get a lot of folds in that spot. And that's crazy because it's such a strong hand on that texture. And I don't think he's always check raising a 6 either. So it's a really, really, really cool spot. Well played. Very well played.
Well, Lacerda got it in there, didn't get any action, picked up the blinds and antes, and is still hovering around the 10 big blind mark. Shortest stack at this 9-handed final table. No eliminations since the start of play.
Oh, so cool. I love it. That's why we watch, guys. This is why we watch, for those moments, guys. Honestly, it's just so amazing to see these guys pulling these huge plays. So much up top. This guy's in such a strong position, and he just has 3 bullets there. It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. And we go to the flop. Neither player really connects. Ace-8 still the best hand, but I'm sure Jack-8 of diamonds is the one with the initiative here. A lot more leverage when you're in position. This guy's got a 10 on the board. There's a diamond on the board. Lots of turns that give him draws where he can barrel off. So I'm expecting him to c-bet here pretty aggressively. Maybe like a 1/3 situation. K actually goes a lot bigger. 1.35 milli into 2.25 mil. I think that's probably going to do it. I like that he sizes up here too, though, as well. You really want to put the 4s and the 6s there in a tough spot. You want, you don't want too many stragglers. You don't want too many calls from gut shots, because when you have a hand like Jack-8 of diamonds on that texture, there are some good turns for you, but you probably don't want to be in a situation where you have to bluff turns, so you might as well size up flop, try and push out all of that really mediocre stuff that might need a bluff on the turn, and just, get it done right on the flop.
Yeah. So Dana is asking for some animation for superfans. I'll tell you what, Dana, when PokerStars introduced the prestige badges, I don't know whether you know this, but if you've won like a scoop or a W Coop or a Sunday Million, you can switch on the icon to show everyone your achievement. I did suggest to the team that we could have a badge for superfans. They weren't up for
it. I really like that idea, though, as well. That's cool.
Yeah, I think the problem is that, look, it's a certain amount of design and development time, and it requires a software update, and we're talking about fewer than 250 people. So I kind of get it, even though I'd like to make it a thing.
So Queen 9 here. That's the hand that's winning. 10-8, probably a little bit too far away in a multi-way pot. I definitely don't mind the 10-8 being in this pot in the first place. Having position and a gut shot with ace-jack, though, is kind of cool. I think we might probably see a small bet here from the ace-jack. I don't think that's unreasonable. Sure enough, around 1/3-ish. Queen 9 probably shouldn't be going anywhere. Their hand is very strong here, even in a multi-way pot. And you will see the action close with L Merrick's here as well, right? So you're probably going to end up heads up a lot. He does make the fold, fair enough, trying to avoid some tough decisions there. I think Bonbon can put him in a lot of tough ones, but, folding middle pair is always going to be a tricky one. I think the fact it was multi-way probably played into that a little bit more.
So deuces for Bonbon. Instead, it's Smith Student who opens with Jack-10. Ace-Queen suited for Starwins, who, before he says this, checks around the table, is the second shortest stack and decides to get it in.
Yep, very strong holding. Probably not going to do anything other than just ship it in there. Not too many bigs. Don't want to mess around. No final table trickery.
Okay, I'm having a Stapes moment. Normally, my memory of stuff is pretty good. But Mark says, I just listened to the last podcast. Can't believe the ending to the Superfan quiz, the Star Wars one. I literally don't know what you're referring to. And I'm trying to think of what happened at the end of the Star Wars quiz.
I don't think I watched that episode. I actually have a couple to catch up on during my travels tomorrow and the rest of the week, so have to download a few.
Bless you. You know, like the entire world is your oyster, right? You got Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, but bless you for wanting to take our podcast with you.
I love a podcast, though, James. You know, I've been hitting the gym a little bit more recently, and
Cool.
you know, I the spoken word I prefer than music. You know, during the workouts, so it's cool. And I mean, your sumptuous tones, honestly. James Hardigan, Joe Stapleton. What are you guys gonna do? Come on, it's beautiful. There you go.
Oh, yes, the
Confirmation.
tiebreaker. The tiebreaker, yes. Number one, Joe won a Superfan quiz, which is rare. Number two, he did it by nailing the tiebreaker exactly. King 7 of diamonds versus Queen 10 of diamonds.
Queen 10 of diamonds on the button. Guys, isn't that such a nice feeling? You know, just a single open. The possibility of being heads up with a middle position open. You got Queen 10 suited, you got Jack 10 suited, you got King 10 suited. Man, that feels good. And then John comes along with Ace Jack of spades, and he has to mess it up with his squeeze. He can still flat here, too. That's not crazy, but there's so much dead money. I think he just put it in here. It's just really, really juicy. You know, not that many big blinds remaining. He's still, I wouldn't say he's shallow by any stretch of the imagination, but he could even get stronger hands to fold there, really, if people are going to play, you know, scared for the final. So it's just such a power play just to ship it in there.
Blinds have just gone up to 250,000, 500,000. Pressure on Lacerda, who has fewer than 10 bigs. Pressure on Starwinds, who has 20 bigs. Same situation for Little Junio as well.
Blind v blind. Blind v blind, Jack 9 suited going to raise it up here. As the big stack, I think leaning more into the raising here, I think I really like. You want to have a little bit of both in these situations at the stack depth. And then on this texture, 1/4 pot, just, you know, easy game. Why not? Ace 9 should be floating here a lot, though. They're going to have the best hand on this board so frequently, blind v blind. I know that Bon knows that. It's just whether or not you want to go to town against a very, very aggressive player. And sure enough, Elmerix, we know how he feels about turned semi-bluffs, James. We've seen this before. We've been in this situation before. He's going to put in $3 million on the turn, and he's going to win this pot every time. 4.7.
Wow. Goes
that
even
is very,
bigger.
very chunky. Yeah, really, really, really chunky here.
Bon with just ace high and only a gut shot to a wheel.
Ace of clubs in his hand. Some consideration there, I suppose. I think for the most part it just works every time. But we'll see. Makes the call.
Wow.
Still the best hand, 100% on the river. We've seen him do it before, though, James. Look at the SPR. He can just put him to the test again. Doesn't have to mess around here.
This is my question, Nick. Ah, no, checks it.
It is a very different scenario, to be fair, yeah.
Gives it up, and I imagine Bon will check this back and win a 15.5 million chip post ace high. And they are pretty close now. Elmerix still chip lead with 31 million, but Bon not that far behind with close to 28 million.
Yeah, it was so similar to the previous situation, and yet extremely different when you get a call on that turn from ace 9. What a strong call, by the way. Bon in this situation. Like, it's so hard to make that call on the turn. You have to have very good awareness of how your opponent is playing and the way they're adjusting and how wide and how aggressive they're going to be playing on that spot. So to call down on the turn is just awesome, and to get to showdown is really, really nice. They're up to 27 million, feeling really strong.
Ace-King outflopped by 10-9 here, the pair for Smith Student. And we're coming up on the hour. We're coming up on nearly 60 minutes of play without an elimination. I'm sorry, but after last night, I'm not used to this. What are these guys doing? Grinding it out?
Trying to win? Playing poker? Unbelievable. Chanik in the chat is saying, is that play done with all types of draw on the turn? You know, it's not like a catch-all, Chanik. You know, you can't, in poker, there's always an if. But for the most part, if you pick up any equity on the turn. If you're bluffing on the flop and you pick up a draw, even as weak as a gut shot, which I suppose is one of the weakest draws one can have, you do tend to get very aggressive as part of a strategy. SPR plays into that as well. You don't want to be putting in big bets on the turn where your opponent is basically going to be all in, because then they can just easily just get it in against you. So it depends on a couple of things like that, and it depends on your perception of their range. If you are playing against an opponent who should have a stronger range, you should be less likely to bet weaker draws. Blind v blind, though, where the ranges are just wide open, extremely wide ranges, you can just afford to be crazy, because your opponent should be in there with loads of overcards, lots of gut shots, just some king highs, just some ace highs, all that kind of stuff when they float the 1/4 bet on the flop that we saw from the Jack 9 of clubs.
Ace Queen opening here, and Bonbon with King Jack.
Not afraid to get involved. I wouldn't. Yeah, I was going to say, I think a 3-bet here might be a cool way to proceed. Just look at John's stack at this point, right? We're sitting at 250, 500K. It's really difficult to play 3-bet pots in these situations at around 30-ish big blinds effective, and Bonbon is exploiting that. I don't think he's expecting to run into a hand as strong as Ace Queen of Spades, so this is a really interesting one to watch, because how John responds here is going to be interesting. He might even just rip this, James. He might go, I know this guy's capable. Instead, he's going to play it as a call, and an ace-high board feels really sweet in this spot for sure, because you're almost always going to get a c-bet from Bonbon unless he's really switched on about the range that John flats here.
By the way, chat pros are not the preserve of Twitch. Julian C on YouTube writes, the more hands you play, the more hands you win. That needs to go on one of Joe's post-it notes. That's why you're losing, Joe. You're not playing enough hands.
You got to be in it to win it, James. And Bonbon goes for about 1/4 here. This is a brilliant sizing. I know it seems extremely small, but think about how many hands are just going to have to give up here. Look at SPR. Ace Queen of Spades, though, just easy
what
flat.
A card,
and the
though.
Spades. How about the King of Spades on the river, James? Or I was going to say Queen of Spades, but obviously that one's out of the deck. King of Spades would be a really interesting river here. I mean, I would go out on a limb here, though, James. I'd say, like, Ace Queen of Spades isn't necessarily completely happy. There's a lot of Ace 9 suited 3-bets here. There's some Ace 10 3-bets here. There's some Ace 3 suited 3-bets here, like we've been seeing. So this might not be a great board for Ace Queen of Spades. This might be a cooler, like, some of the time. But I don't imagine he's getting away from this one, especially when he picks up the spade on the turn. There's a check. And now, how does John feel about going for a value bet where he could be forced all in if he does so, right? If he bets like 3 million and Bonbon just ships, he's like, I never want to play poker ever again. Ever. There you go. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? John's on the wavelength. He knows what's up. And then Bonbon's like, I'm all in. Just over bet ships 23 million to 9. That would be so sick.
No, checks it back.
Nice.
And
very good.
John back up over 20 million. John HF90 playing from Malta. 870K in PokerStars earnings. Mainly plays PKOs. And now it's the chip leader opening with Ace Queen. Raise and take it.
Really cool little spot, though, guys. I love that. There's a lot of game. There's a lot of meta game going on there. I really, really like that. That's kind of why we watch these spots, to get both perspectives and really try and get into the heads of the way these guys are playing. And you can see all the cogs turning, right? It's all there to be seen. That's what these cards obsessions are for. It's just so cool. God, I'm so grateful we get to do these ones, guys, because it's just so fun to see it from both perspectives. And in many ways, poker is very much played as like, these are my cards and this is my perspective, and you have to do your best to try and figure out from one side. And in chess, you play against yourself all the time, right? Because you always see all of the pieces and the way they're moving. So in some ways, this is kind of like we get to play ourselves in chess a bit. We get to imagine what we would do in situations from the perspective of both our opponents and ourselves every single time.
Well, this was a fair fight going to the flop. overcards against a small pocket pair. There is a 10 on the flop for Karagassi. Nick, the fact that Lacerda P's got less than 3 million at the 255 blind level, is that kind of restricting the action somewhat right now?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when we kicked off here, Lacerda certainly wasn't that shallow. Now, considerably shallower, and that's going to weigh on everyone's mind. I mean, there's another 3,000 or so dollars to be won if we can just wait them out. But the pace, as you're saying, it feels a lot slower than some of the PKOs we've been seeing, and I think that has to do with the chip distribution going into this final table. So often going to the final, we've got like 3 big stacks and a bunch of shorties. Going into this, we had quite a few stacks that were the same, around 30-ish or more big blinds. And Lacerda's pretty far away from the blinds right now, so that's a consideration. When we're thinking about future game, we're thinking about how quickly is the button going to come around, how often do you get punished, and obviously the closer you get to heads up, the more frequently you're being punished by those blinds and the wider the range you have to play.
Well, this is an interesting overbet from Bonbon. And I'm as confused as our Brazilian friend over here, who's thinking long and hard about this and then folds.
It's so good. Bonbon's so good. It's unbelievable. What a player. Yes, mate. That's so cool. I mean, I love the intention. I love the tenacity of that play.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a Queen 10 X board probably wasn't a good one for the turn overbet, but you know, he had it right on. He's like, I think this guy's got a 10. I think he's really going to hate it if I overbet here. He'll always fold a 10. Just gets it right. Love to see it. Up to 25 milli. Bonbon. Well played. Pocket jacks now for Starwin.
Yeah, 2 players here with roughly 20 bigs each. Starwins with jacks, Little Junio with 7s. And Starwins is going to open to 1.1 million. Little Junio has got Starwins covered. And ships. And I know we just referenced Lacerda having less than 3 million, but you've got jacks here. You've got a call.
Yep. I think jacks is a mandatory call. It's not a snap call, but it is a call.
Oh! The 7 on the flop, and we get our first KO of this final table. Daniel Peterson, Starwins, eliminated in 9th place, cashing out for just shy of 7.5K in prize money and $6,000 in bounties.
That is sick. That's savage. And it's always coming 7. And why do we play this game? Lacerda there, like, score! Beautiful. Let's go. What a setup for the jacks, though. That sucks.
And Little Junio up to 20 million in chips, and having taken that head prize, is now the bounty daddy, worth 7.5 grand if you can knock out Little Junio.
Just remember, I know that Joe brought this up earlier, guys. If you're just joining us as well, this is a 5:30 Sunday million. To win 7K from a knockout at this stage, it's just ludicrous. That's so many buy-ins. That's crazy.
Well, this is 7-6 versus Queen 8, and Queen High still ahead.
I like a bet here. You got a gut shot. It's kind of cool. You don't have to bet big at all. Just 1/3, excuse me, would be cool.
Pocket 3s for Lacerda. All in under the gun. Does anyone have a hand they can call with? It's a short stack shove with a 3K bounty on the line. Ooh.
I mean, this is always a call in the big, though, right? For 2 mil,
yeah.
you're just going to gamble for the booty every time. Oh, what a flop.
And no 3 on the river. Second KO of the final table. Lacerda P from Brazil, eliminated in 8th place, but got the ladder. Got the ladder to 10K in prize money. Cashed out for 6,000 in bounties, and Smith Student is now sitting close to the top of the leaderboard, ahead of Bonbon, just behind Elmerix. But those 3 players who are also at the top of the table are very close in chips right now.
Yep. got that 3K ladder, James, and that's still like 6 buy-ins, guys. That's like, there are tournaments you play and like 6x your buy-in is like second or third place. You know what I'm saying? Like that's nuts, really. Like it just goes to show you how many runners were in this tournament. It's really, really chunky.
Dana, you are correct. When you knock out a player, you get half the bounty and the other half gets added to your head prize. But the sum that's advertised on screen, the number you see against the target symbol, that is the amount that you can win. That's the amount that gets credited to your stars account when you eliminate that player. Because ultimately, if you want to make a quick decision about what this player is worth, what their bounty is worth, you don't be getting a calculator out to work out what 50% of that is.
Yeah, quite right, yeah. Maybe a little blind v blind action here. Ace-5 can definitely go either way at the stack depth. I think raise or limp. Again, so far, Little Junio has been a little bit more on the cautious side, playing as limp. John, mandatory raise here with 9s, and probably it's not the craziest thing to just call an all-in here as well. It's not an easy thing to do, but 9s blind v blind is massive in this situation. Goes for a little bit over 3x. I really like this size at the stack depth. I think this is appropriate.
Meanwhile, Nick, Lacerda P watching the stream. Lacerda P says, I was so card dad. Really bad run this final table. Nonetheless,
how's it going, man?
Congratulations on the result and the ladder.
Yeah, that ladder's huge for you, buddy. Well done. Well played and great final table, man. Congratulations on your final. Oh, my days.
Oh, just going to say one thing. As we all talk about the stars nuts and the set of 9s, what is it always coming? Just gonna throw it out there.
I mean, I was expecting John just to ship the 9s versus the check raise. They played it cautiously. So far, John flatting with like any hand and just connecting in the most meaningful way. Like ace queen suited, flops top pair, turns nut flush draw, flats pocket 9s versus check limp raise, flops top set. You know, just like the easy life. I think John's been having a pretty good Sunday milling. You know, calls with deuces, flops a set, calls with jack 10, flops a straight, easy game.
Well, I can understand, looking at the hand from Little Junio's perspective, why you would fold there, but the 7 was probably coming, if not on the turn, then on the river, because it's always coming 7.
We'll have to send him an email via support. You know, got to check into the stream sometimes, buddy. You're missing the key information here. You gotta have your finger on the pulse of what's happening at the poker tables. And John now, he's got a hand he can play, and it's just like how hard do you want to go against Elmerix here, who's just been super duper aggro.
Yes.
But it's John. It's just John. I'll just flop 2 pair, easy game. Just gonna put in a really little small c-bet. Could even check the flop if you wanted to, honestly.
Yeah.
I think he'd be quite unbalanced to check against a good player, but it's fine.
Valentin says, sorry for the obvious question, but could they just cheat and watch the stream? Yeah, but they've agreed not to.
Gentleman's agreement.
And having given you the trolley answer, Valentin, I will now draw your attention to what's written on the table just above the pot. Delay time, 30 minutes. You are seeing a reconstruction of hands that were played 30 minutes ago. So it's close to live. We call it live coverage, but obviously we have to have a game integrity delay, in this case, half an hour.
Blind v blind, guys. Elmerix raises up to 4x with ace-queen off. Ace-7 suited calls in the big blind, and there is a rotation on the flop. However, Elmerix picks up that gutter on the turn, guys. We've spoken about this before. Does decide to check. He has showdown with ace-high. It's a very different scenario from the combo draw we described earlier. Very different setup pre-flop, too, so I like the check as well, although could have been a bet. Oh, okay. I think that's an easy call for Bon Bon. Yeah, sure. Easy game. 5 million back in Bon Bon stack.
And again, I would like to highlight the 3 players sat at the top of the table, pretty much tied for the chip lead right now, with 7 remaining at the final table of this $530 Sunday Million PKO.
King 10 very playable. I was literally about to say, I think Little Junio has been picking these spots really well. Just bear in mind, guys, you're looking down at your chart and you're like, okay, King 10 isn't open here. Just look up past the chart a moment and go, there are the three largest players in position, in the small blind, in the big blind, who are probably going to come along and play me a lot of the time. Probably avoid this situation. This isn't a high-value situation. So it's more than just what you could do. You need to use the other information here on the table to your advantage as well.
Queen Jack against Jack Deuce, and Queen High still ahead. Action has been checked to Smith Student, who checks behind now. Both players pair their Jack. Kicker problems for Smith Student. I don't see how Smith Student doesn't call this bet of just over $500,000. May have to reassess on the river. Oh, two pair. Jacks and threes with a king kicker. All good. All's right in the world.
Yeah, a really weird spot, isn't it? Both players kind of want to get to showdown at this point. It's whether or not Bon can put in a bet big enough to actually get him off a chop here.
Yeah, well, 734,000 doesn't feel like it's big enough. I feel like we're going to see a call, and I feel like we're going to get to do some singing.
It's kind of like a value bluff size, though, isn't it, James? Right? It's like, oh, never mind.
Well, it is a chop pot, Nick, and you know what they say? Everyone loves a chop pot.
Everyone loves the chop pot.
That's bad. I'll be honest with you, I kind of underestimated the delay. I naively think that because you're not that far from my end of the PokerStars arena that actually you're going to be pretty quick. But bizarrely, even though Joe is thousands of miles away, he still is on less of a delay than you are. I don't know how it works. I don't understand the interwebs.
I'm still trying to feel out our delay, but I think ours is more significant than Joe's for sure. It's crazy. Oh gosh, that's maybe the worst we've ever seen. All right, guys, King Jack with the initiative.
Just be grateful that Sam Grafton wasn't here. We have seen worse.
Oh, that's true. My heart's in it. My heart's in it, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Queen of Spades with the opportunity to continue. Oh, it's going to be hard to play this hand. He's got two overcards and the backdoor spades, so it's not out of the question to peel here for the small size. You probably should be calling for 500K. I hate to say it, but you probably should.
Okay, we might get another chance, you realize?
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Somebody bet, please. For everyone's sake, not least the audience. Oh, never mind.
Bays, I'm afraid we don't know anyone by the name Sam Crafton. I don't believe he bought into the 100K buy-in.
Now, the question is, assuming we get the value bet, voila, do we get the hero from King High, which on practically every other river card would be good here?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bon could have even gone bigger here because there's quite a few heroes when the board double pairs. Yeah, it gets the call. Very nice. Oh, man, Bon's just on fire. My man is crushing it out here on the streets. Beautiful.
Bon is number one at the top of the leaderboard in the catbird seat, however you want to put it. The Ukrainian player with 32 million chips right now, seven-handed at this final table. And R. Karagassi, now the short stack at this final table, fewer than 20 big blinds.
Oh, man, Bon just loving the play today. Really, really strong poker. King Jack, effective 3-bet all-in, going to work this time against the 10-7 off, I believe. Yo, Pappy Van Winkle, what's up? Welcome.
Ace Jack suited, opening under the gun.
John doesn't want to do it. King Deuce off, no thanks. That's fine. Totally cool. Totally cool. You don't have to
You
do it
don't
if you don't want to.
have to call. You don't have to defend your big blind with everything.
You don't have to do it. You can do it. Don't have to do it.
Pretty good board for Bonbon. Five, 8, 3. Horrible board for fives, and Phyllis will fold. Blinds are going to be up very, very soon. Not good news for Karagassi. There we go, 300,000, 600,000. We've also got Phyllis hovering around the 20 big blind mark, who's got fives again.
Yeah, fives, tricky one on a final table, but decent position to play him in. But as you've mentioned many times, James, you got those big stacks sitting at the top of the table there, starting with Elmerix going right. So you're going to come up against a lot of resistance here. Ace-6 can just 3-bet you into the ground, absolutely bury you in these situations. And Bonbon's not one to shy away from opportunities like that. The flat's not out of the question either, of course, but that's it could really go either way there, absolutely. Decides to call. Good flop for fives, generally speaking. Bonbon with quite a few backdoors here. We've seen him get sticky with ace highs in the sort of big blind or button versus big blind versus small blind, big blind versus button situations before. So with the ace high, relatively dry board and the backdoor clubs, I wonder if he'll decide to come along versus c-bet. Nice size here from Phyllis. He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to bet big here. Phyllis. Yeah, we do see the call once again. We've seen it before. Bonbon, as predicted, coming along versus c-bet. It should be a good turn for him. He has size down on the flop. He will get floated by overcards or high cards. So I think he should bet turn here a lot. It is a tricky spot if you get check raised, though. It really, really sucks if that happens. Does decide to take it to the river instead.
And the question is whether Bonbon takes a stab at this or whether this just goes check, check.
Yeah, he has showdown with ace high, so he doesn't necessarily need to turn his hand into a bluff here. But he might opt for it, you know. It's one of those. Question is, what is he trying to get to fold if he's betting, really? It's like pocket fours, pocket fives, maybe. It is quite narrow. I think the check is pretty standard here. Yeah, it's a narrow range of hands. Maybe a 3 once in a while, but threes like to bet turns too. It's a weird one. Yeah, check.
Yeah, check to showdown. And Phyllis up to 16 million. Well, we've got ace-jack for John HF90. Bonbon in the small blind with ace-10. Oh, and I missed Elmerix with the snowmans.
Nom nom. Nom nom.
Nom nom.
Has flattered the 1.2 million.
Bonbon's got one of those hands, James. He could squeeze it up here if he really wanted to. I think ace-10 off probably plays better as a squeeze than a flat in this situation, but we'll see which way he goes. Thank you very much, sir.
5.37 million. And gets through ace-jack. What about eights? Nope. And Bonbon extending their chip lead. 36 million now.
Can we give that guy a medal now? Like, not the trophy, James, just a medal. Like MVP, event 66M, 530 Sunday Million. I'm rooting for Bonbon. I want him to go all the way. I want the win.
We're not going to have any participation medals. The money that you win and the trophy you get for closing this out are enough. Plus, it's a PKO, Nick. You get real cash money every time you knock someone out. And we've got an all-in here from Karagassi. Not going to get called by King 9.
KJ. Little pause there. He's like, so far out of position. Probably should still play it. We are shorter-handed now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players remaining. It's definitely in there. Go for it. Yeah, raise it up. John, you're not that shallow either. Smith Student could come along here with 10-8 of spades. Probably prefer the absolute connector, right? 9-10 of spades, Jack 10 of spades being the obvious ones here. Even 8-7 of spades probably, is cool. 8-10 of spades, keeping it on the tight side. I don't mind that. That's cool. Ace-5 suited in the small blind. An opportunity to 3-bet, but is one of the shallowest.
Suited, which is
Sourdough
artisanal.
suited.
Nick, I'm going to let you take that one again, by the way. How many players remaining? And just look above my head.
Sorry, guys. I was halfway through another thought. I had to get one mistake in this stream, guys, so that's mine for today. No more. We're done now. 7 players remain.
And I come back to my point about making sure that the numbers that are advertised in the bounty are the number you can win, right? Sometimes math is hard.
Yeah, it is hard. And counting is hard. And it remains anyway, guys. 7-handed king jack off, still part of that range, of course. So you get my point. You see where I'm coming from.
Well, top pair for Smith Student wins that pot. And Almarex opening with ace-jack. Will Philus defend with queen-4 suited? No.
Okay. That's interesting. Queen-4 suited. I was kind of expecting a defend there. But fair play again. You don't have to defend them all.
Kings for Bomb. Opens to 1.2. Karagassi, ace-7 of hearts.
Yeah,
John HF, ace-jack.
We know he knows how to play the weak stuff. Let's see if he knows how to play the stronger stuff now. I think John could just flat this if he wanted to. Just keep it chill. Decides instead to go for the 3-bet. Again, totally reasonable. At this stack depth, though, James, we did see the flat earlier with the aces, right?
Yes.
I think this is probably more of a 4-bet scenario, in my opinion.
That
Just
was what I
because
was
you're a little bit
gonna
on the
ask.
deeper side. Yeah. The shallower you are, the fewer mistakes you can make post-flop if you flat and let your opponent catch up. And it's much easier to get the chips in, too. If you don't 4-bet here, it might be a little bit tricky to get the rest in on the streets to come, depending on how you want to size your flop and turn bets. Just click it. Just make it like 8 million.
Click it and flick it.
Unbelief says 8.2. I like that size. I'm a fan of that. Pappy says 8.5.
How about 7.95?
7.95 instead. That's fine. That's totally fine.
Nick will allow everyone. Nick
I mean,
is on 7.95.
I did say 8 million. That's where I was at originally.
Yes. And John HF90 is like, oh, why didn't I just play audition? Bon up to nearly 40 million now. And Bays95 asks, where is my boy Joe? The PokerStars Arena has many hot dog stands, and Joe likes to explore them.
Yeah. They all have different characteristics, our hot dog stands in the arena.
It's sausage time for Stapes.
All right.
Junio opening with ace-8 of clubs.
I guess the real question, James, is would Bon 4-bet with like a hand like ace-5 of spades there just to try and balance that up? That's a really interesting thought. That's food for thought, ladies and gents.
Well, if you're a fan of sickness, the 10 of clubs is still live. Little Junio goes big though, 2 into 3. Smith Student with just a gut shot, folds it.
Yeah, I wonder if he was trying to cue himself up for a really big one on the turn there if he missed, that kind of power play. You do kind of, sometimes flop sizings are just sort of generic, and other times they have a little bit more of a street value. You know what I'm saying, James? You have to sometimes there's interpretations that can be made based on bet sizes, not just because of what they represent on one street, but because the way they might line up another. And, you know, perhaps in scenarios like that, it's, you know, if people are sizing up, you could try and put more draws in their c-bet range or something like that. It's an interesting thought. Another food for thought situation. And I'm not talking hot dogs.
So Elmerix opens with the Spraggy, ace-7 offsuit. Karagassi defending their big blind with queen deuce of hearts. Jack, Jack 10, just the one heart. So a couple of backdoors for Karagassi, but does not have a stack where you can call too many bets.
Nah, I think this might be getting a bit too wide. He could check raise as a bluff. That would be an interesting one. He's blocking hands like Queen Jack, King Queen, but look, this c-bet size, James, is just like disrespectful. It's so small. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. As I said.
And Elmerix will do what everyone should do with the Spraggy, folds it.
Love it. Love it.
Queen 10 suited for Phylus. Opens to 1.2. Bomb with ace-6 of spades, and Smith Student waiting behind on the button with ace-king. The old big slick.
Again, we might see some aggressive action here. Bonbon's got one of those hands that loves a 3-bet on a final table. All right, Smith, you want to make this 6 million. How much? Let me see. 6.5 million.
Okay. Nick set the line. Are you taking the over or the under? Oh, he's gone over. He's gone way over.
A shove is cool, too. That's fine, too.
And two folds, and Smith Student chips up to 30 million.
Pappy Van Winkle is asking, doesn't a jam look weaker? I think a jam kind of looks like exactly like what it is. And I suppose it does in some ways look sort of weaker. I think a cold 4-bet to a 6 or 7 million probably does look extremely strong. Yes, absolutely. But I think also you don't want to invite too much more action there when you're Smith. You're going to have the best hand a ton. I think the shove is probably superior to the smaller cold 4-bet.
Ooh, look at this, Nick. Bonbon's opened with 8-7. Smith Student laying the trap, just flats with queens. Is Little Junio going to walk into that trap, having got 10s in the small blind? Yes, moves all in. Bonbon, fold, get out of the way. And Smith Student calls, Little Junio at risk. And queens are holding, 10 required. Little Junio doesn't hit and is KO'd. We are down to 6 players, and Smith Student takes the chip lead and now has the biggest bounty.
Yeah, that is huge. The trap there, oh, stunning. Absolutely excellent poker so far, James. I'm really loving it. I think everyone's playing like very, very bossy here. You know, the Sunday Millions are usually an opportunity for us to see some less than so let's call it less than GTO play. But so far, I feel like everyone's really playing their stacks well, and that trap is just you know, you're not always going to see it in the moment. He was there, he was present, he was thinking about exactly what he was trying to accomplish. Found the trap. That's what we're here to see. I love it.
Huge bounty earned by Smith Student in that hand, plus eliminating a player, meaning victory is ever closer. And have to highlight laddering for Karagassi and Phylus in particular, who are the 2 shortest stacks at the final table right now.
Ace-4 suiting on the button. Beautiful, beautiful hand. Never missing this moment to make a raise here. Never. Not a single time ever in the history of poker. Smith Student like, I got chips. You know. Let's go.
Go with some vibe. Ooh, gut shot.
I mean, we do see these check raised quite frequently, James, don't we? Especially when we're seeing some better poker. Ace-4 suited, the best hand. Elmeric's quite an aggressive opponent, probably going to go ahead and bet. 7-5 can just flat here. This is a different kind of gut shot, though, guys. He does have 2 overcards to the 4, which means he's kind of usually has more outs, usually on average, versus a c-bet. So he might just opt to flat here instead of check raising.
Oh, wow.
And
nails it.
I think that's
on
a
the
pretty
turn.
Spicy turn. Yeah, very spicy.
Hits the 6, has the straight. Elmeric's drawing dead in this pot.
I wouldn't hate a lead here from Smith, honestly. His hand is so disguised. If he puts in like a blocker betty size, he's giving his opponent the opportunity to raise him. Oh, I love it so much. My man, that's how you play this hand. The lead here is so cool. Your hand is so disguised. Your opponent has to punish you so frequently here, both as a bluff and as a call, and you just maximize the way you play the hand. I love the lead. I think that's really, really excellent.
Smith student, more like Smith master, has the chip lead as this event goes on break. But we are going across the PokerStars arena to the final table of Scoot 66 low. So this is the $55 version of this event. It's the mini Sunday Million. It's also a PKO, and it's down to 4 players. We're picking up the action with Mr. Ibiza, Dotoroba, Angie Omaha, and ODS Fiesta in contention for the title. This event started with 21,000 entries. The first prize is 46 grand plus bounties.
Wow. Absolutely massive payout for those stakes, and obviously a huge field. 21,080 entries in this tournament. Jeez.
So let's bring Joe Stapleton back into the mix. And Joe, just so you're not confused, we're not down to 4 already in our event. This is side action from the low. This is the $55 mini Sunday Million, which is down to the final 4.
I figured. I've got friends in low places, so. And that's it. That's all I've got. Can you guys take me back out again?
Whoa. Look at this play.
What do you think about this from Mr. Ibiza?
He's just like, you know what? You don't got it. I don't believe you. Here's a check raise. How do you feel about that?
It's all gone Pete Tong for Mr. Ibiza.
Blinds up at this final table to 2 million, 4 million. Obviously, a lot more chips in play with 21,000 entries in this $55 event. Total prize pool of just over $1 million.
Yeah, hey, Ma, I got 73 million chips. I'm short stacked.
Ace 10 for Angie Omaha. And deuces call. Ace high flop. Always an ace on the desk. Angie with the advantage.
I mean, in some ways, I wish we were following this one, but I bet this final table was scrappy AF. I bet it was crazy out here. These guys buying in for, like, you know, a couple bucks, getting to a final table like this. I bet it was wild. I mean, that check raise with Queen 10 right there from Mr. Ibiza anyway. Like, whew. All right, buddy, let's go. Putting a man to the test for all of his chips. You know, just looking a man in the eyes and putting him on a hand and just, I'm check raising here. Well, it's not really any rhyme or reason. I'm just doing it.
Obviously, Nick, we cover the Sunday Million most weeks, and occasionally it will be a half-price edition, right, which is the equivalent of this, $55. And on those occasions, we do see a different level of play, shall we say, to what we would experience in a 109 or a 215 or the 530 we're covering tonight.
Yeah, it's fudging great.
Yeah, I really like it.
I mean, I can't stop picturing what Mr. Ibiza must look like. Like he's just like on a balcony spinning with sunglasses on with his PokerStars client, like one corner. People just like coming up to him, making requests.
Yeah. He's like,
flipping through his
guys. He goes, I'm on the final. Oh, yeah, cool. You want another record? Yeah. Okay, go. Yeah, we'll do that first. Don't worry. Like every time.
Hey, Mr. Ibiza, have you got Wigfield? Can you play a Saturday night? You got Barbie Girl back with Mr. Ibiza?
It's like what? What time is it in Ibiza right now? Like 8:30. The club's open in 2 hours. He's got to wrap this up.
More like 6 hours.
I was about to say, watch him raise here as well. This is just such a weird line, and I knew it was coming. I could feel the energy from Ibiza coming from the island, that the raise was coming on the turn. Mr. Ibiza's a field player for sure. He's one of those, and he's got good vibes. He knows what's going on.
Good vibes only.
Good vibes only.
25 million.
I'd love if he was actually from like Scarborough. He's just playing from, like Slough or something right now.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we're going to head back to the event we're following this evening, which is event 66M, the $530 Sunday Million PKO. 6 players remaining. Back to the action, and I will leave you with Nick Walsh and Joe Stapleton to analyze 6-handed play as they play down to a winner.
Hello, my babies. Welcome back. The 8 Max Progressive Knockout Sunday Million. I like my Sunday Millions like I like my T-shirts. Medium. And I haven't had one of those in a while. Not since pre-2020. Okay. Smith Student and R. Quaragassi going at it here. Blind on blind. Dominated 6. Domination not really a thing when it's 6-8 versus 6-7. But technically it's true. And Quaragassi punishing the dominated 6. And this is a pretty bold play by a relative short stack, and it's going to work out. Okay, so Joe Stapleton, more like Joe Staple double Xelton. I like it. I butchered it, but I like it.
It
hasn't been Stapleton in a while. Elmeric's raising with ace-queen offsuit. Ace-8 suited on the button. You got everybody in the hand covered. Seems like a no-brainer call to me.
Yeah, so pretty much, Joe, the theme of the night is pretty strong ace-x combo opens, and then any suited combo from middle position 3-bets every single time. Ace-queen comes along. Oh, my days. Look at the flop. Smith is going to hate
a hell
this.
of a flop for Elmeric's. All but certainly will win this pot, and all but certainly is going to double up.
I mean, maybe not the absolute full double. I think there is a chance he can still get away from ace-8 here, given the call from that position. But he is going to lose a chunk here for sure, Joe. I think he probably will want to barrel, put a few barrels in here at least.
Elmeric's checking over to Smith Student, who maybe will realize that it's hard to get 3 full streets of value with ace-8 here. And not yet has realized it. Elmeric's once again with the decision, do I raise or do I just call? And with Smith firing twice, I might be inclined to just call again here if I was the kind of player that didn't see a heart on the river every single time.
Having the ace of hearts here, I think, is really cool. I think that's particularly important because you know your opponent is a lot less likely to have the kinds of hands they would 3-bet that have a flush draw in this situation. The problem is, though, Joe, being out of position, do you flat and then check again and hope that he barrels again, or do you flat and then lead the river? I always hate the call and then lead river unless it's like very small. Like flat and then like sort of like if you flat and then like blocker bet sort of the river or make it look like a blocker bet kind of thing, I think that's kind of cool.
I think most rivers, that's probably how I would at least tell someone else to play it. I likely would butcher it way worse than that. But there are some rivers where obviously you can do things a little bit differently, I think. Elmeric's does, in fact, win it with the aggression on the turn. And it's up to 30 million now. So near double up. Isam asks, Joe, still in Vegas? No, I am back in the PokerStars Arena, but I will be back in Vegas this weekend. Anybody wants to come hang out? I got a show Saturday night in Vegas.
Okay.
Joe Schmo asks,
Bon
what does
bon.
PKO mean? It's a progressive knockout. It's just like a regular knockout, only it's kind of into poetry and journaling.
Very progressive.
Ace, yeah, Ace Jack under the gun for Bum Bum, and Ace 10. Let's see if the trend that Nick noticed. Yeah, there it is. Early raise from Big Ace, middle position re-raise from not as big Ace.
We've actually seen this exact setup
And
happen
Ace Jack
just
folds
like
again.
that. It was a different ace. Yep. That's the theme of this
I think we
evening,
saw that
apart from
exact
Bon Bon.
same dynamic between Bomb Bomb, at least when I was here at the very beginning. Raise Ace Jack,
that's
got
right.
3-bet by worse and folded.
Yep, exactly right. I mean, the other theme of the night is Bon Bon being the best player at this table and just destroying everybody and making everyone's life hell, and I'm here for it. Love it.
John Von Bomb Bomb getting shoved on by the fives. John
Power
does take,
poker.
takes the passive line, folds Ace 10. Big Deal O'Neill asking when I'm back in the UK. I should be back to do a couple of shows in Edinburgh, the Edinburgh Comedy Festival in August, right before EPT Barcelona. But the dates aren't exactly set for me yet for Edinburgh, but as soon as they are, I'll get it out there. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I think I'm going to
Okay,
attend
Tabo
that as
asking.
well, guys.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, that'd be
Sorry,
fun.
Joe.
It'd be a really good time. Anybody wants to come, we're going to have a couple of wild nights. Thibaut asks, for real, what does the progressive in PKO mean? It means that your bounty progressively gets bigger. The more people you knock out, the more you are worth when you are knocked out.
Yeah, it's not a set bounty with a set value. When you knock somebody out, some of that money goes to you, and then some of it goes on your head. So if you're knocking out a bunch of people, the value on your head will increase progressively as you progress through the tournament. But yeah, sorry, Joe. I think the delay is quite long for us, so I keep talking over you. But
That's okay.
I'm really excited about the Edinburgh thing. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. If anybody is around, those are really cool little things to stop by. Not only to support Joe, of course, but to hang out with you guys in IRL situations is really, really cool for me. I think that's what it's all about. And Edinburgh is a sick town. It's a great place.
I've been there as a punter before, and it's great. It's super, super fun. If you like comedy, I mean, it's just, you're spoiled for choice, and you see some really amazing acts you might not have seen otherwise. 2-pair here for our Kuragasi. Bon Bon with a flopped second pair, slowly getting worse and worse in value as his hand progresses.
Yeah, I think there's always a value bet here. Based on the play thus far, though, I think probably you don't want to go too big. You still want to get some hero calls from some 6s and some trades and some 8s, so I think smaller might be better here. I don't know if this is a spot where you polarize. He polarizes. Forget about what I said. Just ignore it. I think an 8 could certainly still call, though. That's not out of the question. 4.2 is within a callable amount here for Bon Bon for sure,
Wow.
given the run-outs.
Bon Bon. Second in chips right now. Does, in fact, make the loose call on the river and pays off. Kuragasi drops to third on the leaderboard now.
Yep. He picked it. He did it right, guys. He picked it right. Nick was wrong. He picked it right.
That was impressive. Impressive
Yeah,
sizing.
That's cool. Good sizing.
Raise and take it
All
from
right, the
Smith.
rich get richer.
So we've got 20 big blinds for Phyllis. Just over 20 for John.
Yeah, I think the richer that Korogasi gets here, the harder their lives are going to be as the shorter stacks here at this table, right? You don't want those players to your right just punishing you in the blinds. And the deeper they get as well, the more incentivized they are to call for your bounty value as you get shallower too. So really tricky one spot for those two. Got to start accumulating soon. Korogasi with ace-10 off in the cutoff, and he's like, this is a pretty nice spot. I'm probably going to go ahead and play this every single time. Makes it the straight min raise, exactly 1.2 milli.
Crudopedia says, I always heard it's not the size that matters. Well, I'll tell you what, size definitely matters in poker, but small size, big size, they're all used pretty regularly. Any can be effective. But the size does matter. Going to defend from Jack 3. Flopping a Jack could be a little bit of trouble.
Yep. Elmerix definitely understands that folding middle pair in these situations probably a little bit too weak. So we're definitely probably going to see at least one bet and a call. The turn will decide a lot here. You know, is it going to be a slow downer? Is it going to be a continuer for the ace-10? Because ace-10 just needs to get as much value as they can in these situations. When you open these combos, making top pair, and he just gets away from it. Wow, that really surprised me. It could have been the size, though, Joe. He did go very, very chunky on that texture, for sure.
So you're saying sometimes a bigger size isn't necessarily better?
They're all effective.
Sometimes an average size is plenty?
Sometimes you want average, Joe. Sometimes you just want average.
And sometimes even small gets the job done and big would be overkill. Also true, right?
Yeah, I know all about that, absolutely. Ace-9 of spades here. Original muffin, well played. Queen 7 in the big, though, the opportunity to play.
Action folds to ace 4. Who folds? 9-8 for Bomb Bomb. Out. 10-9 for Smith Student. And maybe Korogasi not going to have the chance to fold pre-flop. And Korogasi hits a jack, a gut shot for Smith Student. Those pairs, the 10, the 9, not live anymore.
Just bet the flop, Smith. I love the bet here. Love a bet on this texture with the gutter. How is he going to win the pot? Start right now. Do it right now. Korogasi with a really nice calling hand. Yeah, it's such a tough turn to put in another bet from Smith, though. I like the flop bet. I'm not sure if you continue turn here too often, though.
Yeah, it really
But,
sucks. I mean,
certainly-
you're not getting any more folds on this turn. Like Jack 3 is like pretty pleased with the deuce pairing.
Yeah, right. I mean, your opponent's just going to have a deuce a bunch when you limp here as well. They're like, I can't fold a pair in position. You know, it's just not a good turn where you're going to see a ton of continuations from good players usually. And I don't think Korogasi has to bet here either. I think the check is the right thing to do on the turn. You're not really going to get worse to call, and you don't want a king to bet and then slow down, and then, you know, you're kind of value towning yourself. So just get to showdown. Maybe a small bet on the river to get calls from ace highs and stuff like that. Maybe try and get someone off a chop if they have a jack as well. But I wouldn't be surprised to see check. But I do think there's some merit to betting this river if your opponent isn't gonna bet. I don't think a king would ever miss a river bet if they check turn here. So if you could overbet this river, that'd be kind of cool. You could just bet like full pot and hope that you get another jack to fold. Some ace high calls might be in there as well. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Whew. 2/3 pot, close enough.
Nice.
Does not get a call from 10 high. A boo-hoo. Pocket 3s for Bon Bon. Ooh, no thank you. Doesn't want to have to play for the 14.8 million of John. Smith Student, they don't care though.
No, not fussed. John's got such a pretty hand here.
Can you imagine John, your first name being spelled John, J-O-N-H? That's got to be annoying. Sorry, is it Jon or John? No, actually, it's Jonh. It's John.
I mean, it would curse you, like Joe. Can you imagine you fill out like you go somewhere and you have to fill out some forms, and then the first guy fills out the forms, and you go, my name, just to let you know, it is Jonh, and then everybody that looks over the form corrects it at a later stage. They're like, oh, I see what happened here. This is a common. Yeah, this is, and just you can't win. It's your name is always being corrected at some stage.
Towards the end of my grandmother's life, when she would send me birthday cards, she would spell Joseph Joesph. Joseph. Joseph. Of course, multiple times she thought I was her husband towards the end, too. So I guess spelling my name wrong was really not as big a deal. Top pair for both players. Smith student out-kicked. A lot of blue raspberry out there. And we do see a nearly half-size pot bet from Koragasi. Not nearly. We're talking a quarter here, buddy. Come on. Queen of clubs on the turn. Does not really do much for anyone.
Yeah, interesting turn spot. I think Koragasi probably just wants to go again, but these guys do want to control the pots here on final tables. You know, they do want to pot control, as we say. Some of the time. I'm probably going to go ahead and bet here again quite often, but let's see what he wants to do. 4.6 million.
Now we getting bigger. Now we getting bigger. You're not really afraid of the flop flush, right? You're more afraid of one of these draws coming in at this point.
Yeah, I think so. Nice bet. Hey, good fold from the King 8 too. That's a tricky spot. I do think that turn bet is going to be quite honest though most of the time at this stage of the tournament. So again, maybe some meta adjustment given the specific setup and not necessarily just you know, playing the spot in a vacuum, which I like to see.
I get what you're saying about someone playing honest in that spot, but what gets me confused sometimes is I'm like, okay, I believe it's honest, but maybe they're honestly betting a worse hand than mine.
I guess with King 8 on that texture, though, you know, you could maybe King
it's hard
10,
to be
you
worse.
might feel that way. Yeah, right, exactly. But I hear what you're saying too. That's always a really interesting sort of dynamic for me, Joe. Like when you're looking at a spot, you're deciding whether or not you should call. You know, you go ask yourself, how often does this guy just think he's going to have the best hand with second pair? How often does this guy just think he's value betting King Deuce off on a King High board or whatever? And it is a really tricky thing to get right. Absolutely, very, very tough spots.
My reads are good. I just often can't beat the hand I put the person on, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Koragasi is really chipped up, guys. Up to 36, 37-ish million now. Decides to open. Smith student in the big blind with a real pretty one, though.
Seven for Trey. Rainbow. Everybody misses. Koragasi sounds like the fifth Ninja Turtle that like kind of came out deformed. It's like Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, Leonardo, and Koragasi.
Koragasi.
Like what would really happen if a turtle got hit with toxic ooze? It would just be like sort of melted.
Koragasi sounds like some sort of like Moroccan prophet, you know, like a Moroccan
Oh,
soothsayer
yeah,
or
sure.
something. You know, like
We must consult Koragasi.
We must consult Koragasi.
Queen high still behind to ace high, but betting full pot anyway. Get it.
I mean, if he makes this call, I mean, just confirmed is in fact a Moroccan soothsayer. He's just reading the runes. There you go. Okay. He
catches. The wheel.
He consulted the runes. Outlook looked good.
Quaragasi
Is it not-
says
These are not the droids you were
Quaragachot.
looking for. Quaragachot. Oh, he can probably go again, though. Honestly, he could bet this river with Queen Jack. I think it's okay for him to go for him to bet turn bet river here, but we'll see. I know it's hard to pull the trigger. Quaragasi's like, I made a straight, but it's not a great one. Big blind's going to have a 6 here a lot of the time. Would he ever find a trap check? I think Smith definitely is capable of that for sure. Yeah, I like it. All right, Quaragasi confirmed Moroccan soothsayer, fortune teller, read the runes, knows what's up. Well played, sir.
And chip leader with 43 million in chips. Smith student with the hooks. The jables. And with a very I have jacks, don't call me raise here pre-flop. As we say, this raise reeks of jacks. Gets 8 high to fold. Raise from Almeric's, pocket fives for John. This feels like a get it in candidate.
I think there is a chance of that for sure. He is at risk, and pocket fives is probably played best as a push in these scenarios. It's hard when there is a player to your left who is shorter, though, and I can appreciate why he's just not snapping it in. He has an okayish price to try and just flop a set for sure. The set mine isn't the craziest I've ever seen, although he doesn't have a ton of implied value behind at this effective stack depth.
Yeah, calling doesn't seem terrible, but I feel like maybe some of those flops you should be getting it in too that aren't sets, including the one we just saw.
Right. Yeah. I mean, sevens, eights, nines immediately just have better playability than fours, five, twos, threes, fours, fives kind of thing. So it is a really tricky balance there to try and play those correctly post, which is why so frequently we just avoid it altogether by playing the push pre. He might ship this time, though. This is very different.
Baby! John shipping over the button raise. Phyllis, you cannot fold ace-queen suited in this dynamic, in this button versus small blind situation.
Yeah. I think this is mandatory. I think you're right, Joe.
There's the all-in. Quaragasi elects to not try to suck out on 2 bounties. Ace-queen is going to chop this pot. Well, Nick, you know what they say. Everyone loves a chop pot.
Ding, 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 ding. Oh, no animation. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Oh, we aced it.
That was a mic drop for me.
Woo.
I'm out.
Let's go. All right,
fake
end
middle
the stream,
finger.
guys. Not bad, not bad.
Ace-queen suited for Smith student now. Elmeric's with pocket kings. Smith student opening. Under the gun.
Wow, we aced it, Joe. That's awesome.
And a 3-bet from Jack 8 suited. This is going to make things a little weird in this pot.
Yeah, I think Kings has to 4-bet here probably. Especially as there was a smaller 3-bet here from Quaragasi. Quara, get out of here.
There's the 4-bet to 8.4 million. Does not give Smith student much room to maneuver. Gets out of the way with ace-queen correctly.
I appreciate it, though. I like Quaragasi's got heart here. I like that. That's cool.
2 hearts.
2 hearts in this case. The kid's got heart. You know what I'm saying? Kid's got heart.
And ace-queen suited makes another appearance. Again for Phyllis, 2 hands later. What do you do
This is
here
a-
with pocket threes? Yeah.
It's a weird spot, Joe. You know, like you really kind of want to bang it and just go for the bounty and just try and simplify. But I think the flat is probably correct. 8-9 in the big is probably also a hand that is not out of the question to play multi-way. Look at the flop.
Man, if all four hands had come along, this would have been awesome. But unfortunately, it's just pocket threes out in front right now.
Yeah. 9-8 off multi-way. Yeah, it's out there, but you're getting a really good price. And you kind of know what you're looking for with that hand, right? You're going to flop 2-pair plus, or you're going to get it out of the way a lot of the time. It's not a hand you're going to get into a ton of trouble with. And, of course, there is the opportunity to win a bounty from Phyllis as well. I wonder if he just check folds here. Honestly, ace-queen of spades on this texture, you're just hating life. Absolutely hating it. Yeah, I like that a lot. Well played, sir. Doesn't feel good. Feels like it's your moment, but I think he's done well. And he's rewarded with queens the very next hand. Yee.
Strong starting hands for Phyllis. Didn't make much happen with ace-queen suited, but has a strong chance to get it in as a huge favorite here against 2-10s if Quaragasi does what Quaragasi's supposed to do, which is rip
he's
it
supposed to do it. For sure.
with these
1000%.
2-10s and try to get a $4,400 bounty. Phyllis gonna survive unless we see a 10 on the river. No 10, double up Phyllis. And that puts John, sorry, that's not me groaning. That's John in the bottom spot.
John.
Smith student opening from the button, ace-9. Pretty tempting hand here with 7-8. Ooh, not just tempting to play, tempting to 3-bet. Quaragasi definitely has heart.
My man's a boss out here on these streets. He's like, looks kind of pretty. Sure, I'll play it as a 3-bet. Let's go. I mean, Smith student probably just gets out of the way. It's so punishing. He's really, really doing it well. Like, I know he caught him out there with Jack-8 of hearts, but he's going to make those chips back real quick if he keeps 3-betting and getting folds. And he's been doing it, Joe, as you said, even during that first session when we were all here together to kick off today's stream. He was getting those through right from the start. Like, not afraid. Not afraid. No fear. It's not sacred poker, Joe. It's not
This
sacred.
is not definitely not sacred poker. This is mysterious Quaragasi poker.
Quaragasi. His name is whispered across the sands of the Sahara. Quaragasi.
Some people read tea leaves. Some people read bones. Quaragasi, he reads people. He reads right. He's a reader of people. Right through your soul, online.
If you close your eyes in the middle of the desert on a full moon, you can hear his name whispered. Quaragasi.
He also reads the jokes from popsicle sticks.
Also a fan
Quaragasi.
of slam poetry.
King Jack. Ace-10 for Elmerix. Will we see the flat or will we see the re-raise? Just the flat. Jack-high flop. 2 spades. A 4 and a 5. C.L. Smith says, who exactly reads bones? And Scusamois says, like everybody used to read bones up until recently. Correct. Thank you for your question. Pair of jacks, good. Gets the
Bones
fold
are so
from
2,000 years ago. Unbelievable.
Merrick's.
Talk about card distribution, Joe. Look at this. Phyllis with the kings again. I mean, following up from the queen's hand he had with the setup against the tens. I don't know if he's going to get much more than this, though. I don't think this is a spot where he gets too much action.
The poker gods woke up this morning and they chose Phyllis. King 10's a pretty easy one to let go.
Yeah.
It's not like
a nice
king
one to
queen
open.
suited, where it's a tough decision.
Exactly. King queen suited is another. It's like king queen suited is a lot like ace jack, Joe. You know, it's one of those like it's you know, okay, it's really on the line here a lot of the time. Speaking of which, king queen.
Hello. Wait, you say quitch? I say quing.
Speaking of which,
Oh, which?
which.
Old quingers.
Old
10-9.
quingers.
Defends and flops top pair.
What are they
6
gonna
players
do,
remaining.
quingers?
Next player out, guaranteed $20,000. If you're not the next player out, you get another 8 on top of that. 8,000, not $8.
Oh, what a nice turn for Almerix. You gotta be betting this turn, bro. How about you
I was
just
gonna
make
say.
it like 5.4 million on the turn? That's the bet, Joe. That's how he's gonna do it. Watch this.
I'm watching. It takes a long time to type out 5.4.
What?
7.6. Almost exactly the same thing.
Sure. Fair play. I do like the continue on the turn, though. I think this is mandatory, especially with the gut shot. Now, Smith is like, oh, he's always going to bluff the turn. He's always going to bet the ace. I should call, but it's like so many chips, and it really sucks if I call and I got it wrong. It's just so punishing, and you're so handcuffed in these situations. So perhaps the larger size is better. I think maybe Almerix probably got it right here.
I wouldn't be worried about calling and getting it wrong here. I'd be worried about calling and getting it right, and then it being a river card that I'm going to hate anyway, which is like half the deck.
It really is. There's a lot of rivers you're not going to be super happy with here. Yeah, fair play. Good size there, Almerix. Very nice. Well played, sir.
Queen 9 suited for Phyllis. Min raises. Flat from the Snowmen's.
Nom 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 nom.
Nom. King Queen suited as well coming along. Speaking of King Queen, speaking of Queen suited.
Oh no! How do you do it? Oh, it sucks. You have to like the worst hand closing the action. Such great price, and you're like, what flop could I possibly like other than Jack Jack low? And then it comes Jack Jack low. Brutal.
Oh,
Brutal.
Quadigasi, the prophet of poker, reads the bones wrong. Bruh. Look at that flop. King Queen's like,
stick.
no thanks.
Ooh.
That's a really spicy turn. I like this a lot. I like the float from
overs.
Bonbon too. He's playing so good, Joe. Honestly, it's killing me. It's making me so happy.
Well, 2 overs and the flush draw for Bonbon.
An opportunity to kind of put in a raise here if you want. I like the call because you can still bluff the river if your opponent slows down, right? It's like flatting here doesn't necessarily say, oh, I don't have a jack, right? You can still flat with a jack here. So he's kind of bricked out, and I don't think Almerix would miss another bet with a jack. So if he goes really big on the river here, there's no reason why you can't get the eights to fold. Because it really looks like he just flatted with jack 10 and just called 2 streets, and now he's going for value, right? What if he made it like 8 million on the river? 8 mil. You know what to do.
Well, Pappy agrees with you. Says Bonbon setting up a big bet on the river.
8.1 million. Okay.
Very
I
close.
like that too.
9.2. Almerix with a bluff catcher. Plenty of bluffs out there, but no. Bonbon gets away with it.
Oh, I love this man. Guys, can somebody send me his email? I just want to send him. I just want to send him like an e-card, like a congratulatory e-card. Thank you so much for making this session awesome. Played fucking great.
Ooh,
Pardon my
baby,
language.
check this out. John flops a flush with a royal / straight flush redraw. If you do send a letter to Bonbon, maybe don't write bomb on the outside of the packaging. That's all I would say.
Oh, jeez.
It might not get there. We might not ever see you again. If you just go around sending things with the words bomb on in it.
Look at the flop, Joe.
$2.8. This feels like a pretty easy fold. Yes, indeed. And blinds are up. Here we go. 400,000, 800,000. Now's when the real poker starts. Expect says Elmeric's too good. Well, we're seeing Elmeric's back in action here with ace-4 suited running into ace-tray suited and another ace-4. I went quick. Both players missed. One club for Quaragassi.
Quaragassi. He's in position. He's got the power. He can definitely win this pot on the flop if he wants. That wouldn't take much. Wouldn't take much at all. 1.7. Cool size.
Quaragassi. You can't spell Quaragassi without Q. Ew, 7-3, gross.
Blind v blind action, Elmeric's and Bonbon. I don't think we're going to see too much more from this pot, Joe. Seems like a pretty standard raise and take it scenario. Although he has proven us wrong before.
Bonbon, full of surprises. Oh, baby. Well, this is going to be a shame for someone.
Question is it a flat or a 4-bet? And if it's a 4-bet, is it all in?
What about fold? All
Nah.
in.
Bonbon. Well played.
You
Kid's
backed
got
yourself
heart.
into
Cost
it.
him a
You
lot
got to
of
call.
chips. What can I do? I'm priced in. Let's go. Take it to the flop.
Priced in. I think I have live cards. The worst words you can hear before someone calls you in a poker tournament. I think I have live cards. Hey, you don't, but it turns out you won anyway. Congratulations. You're the best.
Yeah.
Raise
We
and
got a lot
take
of that in Brighton. At some point, the old boys in Brighton realized that, like, when there's a lot of chips in the middle, you should be calling, like, looser, you know, like, oh, there's a lot of value. Like, oh, lots of value. Calling for the value. And then they ended up going super wide. They're just calling to the big blind with 7 deuce off and, like, flopping quads and getting paid. And, like, oh, I had to call pre-flop. It's for the value. It's for the value.
Is everyone you play against Michael Caine?
That's definitely not Michael Caine. You know I do a better Michael Caine. Yes, son. I was calling for the value. Hello, it's me, Michael Caine. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Can you do the Lamborghini then?
The Lamborghini.
That's also from Batman. He says, like, oh, the Lamborghini then.
Oh, no. Never seen that one. I have seen that one, actually. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You just don't know that line, particularly.
I don't know the lines, yeah. Yeah.
King Jack for Elmerix. Bomb, who's once again taken a significant... Is that the chip lead, or is that a 7 or a 2? Sorry. Yeah. No, it's a 2. That's not as exciting as I thought it was. I got to make this window a little bigger. There we go.
Me and Joe going to the World Series, playing the tag team event. I'll be Alfred, Michael Caine, Alfred, and you can be Christian Bale, Batman. What do you think,
I think we
Joe?
should just dress up as 2 different Alfreds.
We should definitely do that. Which Alfred? Okay, I'm calling Michael Caine. So which Alfred are you going to go for?
I wish I could remember the guy who played. Yeah, see, there's Jeremy Irons Alfred from Affleck's Batman.
Yeah.
I can't name the one from Michael Keaton's Batman.
Right. That's the one I was thinking of.
I think it would probably be, the
Michael Gough.
Michael Goff, maybe you say that. Anyway, Andy Serkis, maybe. I guess is the only other one I could name. But I do have ape-like features, and we know that he played Caesar, so there's a bit of a. Yo, how come Alfred's never been a woman, huh? Is it not? Can a woman not clean a house? Is that a job only a man can do? Raise children? Sick of the sexism in the Batman movies. A7 of spades for Quaragasi.
Oh God.
Deuce is full.
Gotta be.
No set.
Gotta do something about
no
that.
set miming.
No set miming. Good point, Raksha. Good point.
Action fold around to Smith student. Suited Jack Deuce. James says, here's a fun fact for fans of the 60s Batman TV series. We're waiting.
Well, we're waiting.
He would have been a great Alfred. Ted Knight. Judge Smales as Alfred. The character of Aunt Harriet was introduced by the TV network because they didn't like the idea of 3 men living together and were nervous about how the relationship between Bruce and Dick would be perceived. That's incredible. Considering I mean, it didn't really help. Like, it's just, if anything, it made it more suspect. Like, they definitely had a beard around. Pocket nines for Quaragasi.
That's a brilliant, brilliant fun fact. Thank you, James. That's incredible.
Just calling. And 9-10 suited for John. This is exactly the kind of situation you're like, you're not, obviously you want a big pocket pair. You can just jam here as the short stack. But being able to peel here 3 ways with a suited connector, close the action, flop like this. Come on, baby. This is what it's all about. John, you cannot check this, though, right? Whoops.
I mean, I don't. He's not last to act here, so I can kind of see why he checks. But there is a lot of funky cards here, so maybe you're right, Joe. Maybe there is a lead once in a while. I'm not sure though.
Okay.
Elmerix doesn't bite though. I think you get a lot of information from Elmerix when he doesn't bet as well. So maybe the check is better. Like, the queen is probably a lot less likely to interact with Elmerix's range if he doesn't bet flop, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because a lot of
could
his
see
opens
that.
might want to continue here with gut shots and straight draws and, over cards that have gut shots and stuff like that with the queen. Gets the best hand to fold.
Agassi,
I don't know,
once
Joe.
Again, with a brilliant read.
With the 9, I think with the 9 you're supposed to call because you still have the draw even if the 10 isn't quite right. That is a really interesting one from John, though. I wondered if that was a little bit of a mistake, but you can appreciate it. He doesn't love his hand at that point with the overcards and everything else. So fair plays. Fair plays. Is this a shove, though? I think this is a shove, though.
I go broke in a lot of poker tournaments that way, but I feel like that's a stop and go. You hit the 10 there, you got some weird backdoor flush and straight draws. I'm probably just going to be all in on that flop.
Okay, ace 10 taking it down.
No call from ace trade diamonds. Ace 10. An open from Bonbon.
Bonbon.
Easy game.
Easy game.
Why didn't he all in before? Why he didn't all in before? Well, Dan, that's the cool thing about poker is you get to play it however you want. And now they got computers to figure it out. But there's still a lot of creativity to be had. So whatever John's been doing has gotten John this far, and I am happy for John. Thank you for your comment. Pair of queens here for Agassi.
Yeah. I mean, talk about playing your hand how you want. Agassi's open from this position with the bigger stack. I applaud that. That's really cool. That's very, very nice with the just using his larger stack. And with two shorties on your left as well, you just really steal position for them so often. You put them in a lot of a tougher situation because the more that you're not playing hands like Queen 3 of Spades here, the more often you're allowing those players to play their hands as an open, as the initial opener, and then obviously taking a post and potentially accumulating chips. The check raise in this spot is so spicy. With the 10 of diamonds as well. I mean, Bonbon just flexing, mate. I absolutely love this guy. Yes. That's how you play poker. Let's go, man. Let's go.
So wait, Nick, you're a big fan of Bonbon, right?
Yes.
Would you take him on a trip with you? Would you take him on a plane? Would you take that player right there? Would you take that player at pocket tens on a plane?
I would love to take whatever this guy's real name is on a plane. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Open from pocket sevens for Elmerix. Bonbon just flatting the 2 10s, and it comes Jack. Smith student flopping the other two much better hands, nearly dead.
Real talk though, Bonbon, if you're watching this, man, please give me a shout out on Instagram or drop me a DM or something, dude. I wanna give you a shout out later. That's really, I think, the chat's right. I'm crushing on you. I got a poker crush on you right now, dude.
Man, this could work out really well for Smith if it goes bet call. Oh baby.
He's like, oh, I want lots of action, and then he gets to the flop. He gets to this point. He's like, oh, now I'm out kicked. Great, this is gonna be fun. Going nowhere, of course. There might be some merit to a raise here, I guess. It feels like you might weed out some draws or something, get some value from some diamond draws and some gut shots and some combo draws, but it is also really scary to try and put in a bunch more chips here where you could be crushed. Absolutely crushed.
I'd be more worried about not getting the value I deserve here when I raise. Sevens insta-fold. 10's probably going to do the same. I mean, it's not really like a bluff spot.
It doesn't feel like a bluff spot either. It's a possibility, but I agree with that analysis, Joe. Son of a Purchase probably wants to shut down that diamond draw. Yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to. I feel like you can think of it two ways, right? You're like, okay, I want to get additional value because I think I'm winning. You could also think about it like, oh, I'm a little bit concerned about being beat here, so I'm just going to play it a little bit more cagey. Or you just go, there's a spot where these guys can have a bunch of draws that I don't want to see, so I'm going to raise. And I think that was the camp that he was in there for sure.
Alexis asking, how's it 11%? The other two tens are out. The percentages do not keep track of the folded cards.
Yep. Which is, of course, the way you want to do it because, again, we're trying to put ourselves in the shoes of the players from their perceived positions, right? Which is how you calculate your own odds behind the scenes. Trip kings for the prophet of poker, Quaragazi.
Must be nice. Quaragazi up to $44.5 million.
What do you think, Joe? I feel like you played that one pretty quick on that texture. It's an ultra dry spot, you know what I'm saying? And there's plenty of floats there where you're still gonna get bluffed off, and plenty of turns your opponent can make a pair. Think their two pair is good. I mean, they are a little bit on the deeper side, so I can appreciate he really wants to apply pressure. Look at this. Speaking of pressure, guys, this is the power poker we've been waiting for. Queen 9, absolutely punishing shove here, both. Not only because you're probably just going to be winning chips as a push there regardless, but also for the ICM pressure as well. You will get considerably stronger hands to fold there, which is why those shoves are so cool on the final table, especially as a big stack who can afford to take an $11 million hit. Or 11 million chips, I should say.
Smith student. Min raising. Ace jack off. Quaragazi folds. Ace 9 suited for John. Jams. This is a pretty clear-cut call. Especially with a 4K bounty on the line.
I'd say it's close, Joe. I wouldn't say it's a snap. I think it usually is, but here we go.
2 spades, but it's a 9 on the river. Double up for John. Smith student gets it in good, but gets flunked by Professor Poker God. Pocket kings for Quaragazi. I wouldn't have been so confident about the call had it not been a bounty tournament. That's all. I think that's kind of just puts it over the slightly over.
I should have followed up, Joe. I think you're right, and that I was going to say before they snapped it. And I think that's the tipping point. I think that's what just nudges it over. We're looking at another 4,000. Obviously, guys, at this stage, they are going to be looking at the ladders a little bit more closely than just purely trying to go for bounties like it was earlier in the tournament. But I think if it's that close and then with you have bounties, I think you're right. I think that's probably still a call. But rough run out there, but still in the tournament, 12 million chips, not out just yet. And a 3-bet from Bonbon.
Wow, okay, so Bonbon got worked a couple of times after raising under the gun with ace-jack. This is the first time Quaragazi's played back with an actual hand. Bonbon with some pretty bad timing here. Should have cut the blue wire.
I mean, if he flats, SPR is 1, so the flat is not crazy. I think you play it safe and ship, though. I think this is the line. Yeah.
And I guess the good news for Bonbon is that they're still in the tournament. That could have been worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Question in the chat here. Why is first and second rewards so close? The first and second place are identical, or almost identical, apart from few pennies, because, of course, we're playing a PKO. So the player that wins the tournament wins that value, but also all of the bounties that they've accrued and the bounty on their own head. A general rule of thumb is whatever that number is, you can kind of sort of double-ish it for first place, usually.
Nice one, hard again. Ace king suited for Quaragasi. Pocket three's folded. Folds all the way around to Smith student in the big blind with ace three. This could be a problem.
These are tricky ones, you know. You're gonna be out kicked there so often, and you just don't want to just call and then cold deck yourself. You know what I mean, Joe? Tricky
Or
spot.
shove and just be completely in jail. Especially there were 2 threes also folded.
Yeah, he should have thought about that. Should have thought about those folded threes, Smith. Yeah.
Smith jams on Quaragasi. Perfectly standard jam here with a medium suited king. Gets it through. Players are going on break. Did not lose any players at all during that session. Still 6. Did I say 6 or 6? 6 remaining. Wrong website for the other thing. Quaragasi still out in front. 55 million in chips. As long as we're talking leaders, from the chip leader to the commentary leader, the voice of PokerStars, welcome back, James Hardigan.
Thank you, Joe. The stream may be 18 plus, but it is all about the poker and nothing else. We have, even though we didn't lose anyone during that session, we do have 3 legitimate short stacks now with the blinds at 400, 800. You've got 3 players with sub 20 big blind stacks, those players being Bonbon, former chip leader, Smith student, another former chip leader, and Phyllis PL. So you kind of feel that something's going to happen in the next session. The most important thing is, though, I don't know how we ended up talking about Batman and Alfred the Butler, but it brought back so many happy memories of the Batman TV series from the 1980s. And, Nick, I don't
80s.
think you would have been... Sorry, the 60s. The reason I say 80s is because that's when I saw it on TV, right? And that's what I was going to say. Nick came over to the UK in the 90s, so probably missed out on this, but the Wide Awake Club on UK TV would screen those old Batman shows. And that's where I watched it on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and I'm pretty sure I saw like every single episode and taped them all on my Betamax VCR over the course of several years, have the entire collection. And, of course, when the Batman movie came out in 1989, it's kind of like, oh, this puts a different perspective on it, and suddenly you think, oh, that TV series was really naff. But actually, I still look back on it quite fondly, and when you look at films like Batman and Robin, you realize at least this knew what it was, right? This was meant to be a spoof. This was meant to be a pastiche, whereas, unfortunately, Joel Schumacher's movies just lost their way. I want to know, though, why the Bat phone was in a cheese dish. If anyone knows the answer to that question, please tell me, because it's troubled me for many decades.
So that lady wouldn't have to dust it.
Oh, well, hang on a second. As far as I could see, though, Joe, Aunt Harriet didn't really do anything other than just turn up and be confused. Like, Alfred still did all the housework. She was just there.
Yeah, look, I think that interpretation of Batman, by the way, is like amongst the more realistic interpretations of what a billionaire superhero would have to behave like. Like, at least he wasn't completely invincible and like getting his ass beat every single day and then just like waking up and like fighting hundreds of villains.
That is true. Back to the subject of poker. Nick, I haven't had a chance to ask you since we last spoke. I know obviously you've been streaming, but you kind of focus on different games. Have there been any scoop tournaments on your schedule?
Okay, guys, this is a momentous occasion, okay? You guys know I'm not a big MTT dude.
Yep.
I have managed to play like 5 or 6 scoops, which I realize is laughable compared to many people's schedules.
That's almost 1/2 of 1% of scoops.
Exactly. I did manage to cash in one of them. It was the 109 deep stack situation, whatever that was. I managed to get down to the final 300 or so we were within spitting distance because that was another big field tournament. I think I won a couple $100, but you know, nothing to write home about. But I was very pleased that I put in some time, and I did get the buzz there. Honestly, I did feel that MTT buzz at getting down to some decent opportunities to win. Moving forward, I'm obviously going to try and make a more considered effort, but you know, it's just a juggling act. Meanwhile, I managed to profit during this time because Spin and Goes kept me afloat. So it's still been a profitable scoop for me, even though the majority of it came from the games I usually grind. Yeah.
Nice. And again, look, I don't want to sound like a commercial, but I do think it's important to highlight that whilst we mainly focus on the high buy-in, and in this case medium buy-in, although arguably $530 online is still high stakes, we do have the low buy-in tournaments across the board, and I think that is one of the key things about Scoop, and has been since its inception in 2009, is there is a Scoop for everyone. You can play your Scoop, and if you only want to play low buy-in events, if you don't have the bankroll to be playing 530s or 1Ks, there will be low buy-in events that give you that same experience and give you just as much of a right to call yourself a Scoop champion and win yourself a trophy. And that's a great thing to see. And of course, there are 3 buy-in tiers for the main events, which will be kicking off this Sunday. And a reminder once again that we will be streaming the last 3 days of the No Limit Hold'em main event, Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Nick, give yourself an extended break. Joe and I have got this. We're going to get down to short-handed play. When you come back, you're going to be in your comfort zone, buddy. We're going to have like 3 or 2 players. We need to lose some people, Joe. We need to see some bust-outs. I want to see that KO animation on screen.
Yeah, and I want to see these bounties get bigger. I mean, these are nice, chunky, cool bounties for a $500 buy-in. And as they consolidate, it should get pretty fun in here. Every time you say 3 buy-in tiers, all I can think about is how much crying I would do if I played Scoop.
Oh, Joe. King Queen against the Grafton. 10-9 suited, and King High still ahead.
God, kind of tempting, right? Kind of tempting to peel one here at 9-10. I guess other phase of the tournament, maybe. A little more tempting. Kind of want to hold on to these chips while there's 3 short stacks. Okay, there's another option. I always forget about that one. And gets it done. Cool.
Okay,
Really cool.
well, we still have those 3 legitimate shorties at this final table. And blinds will be going up to 500,000 and $1 million in 4 minutes' time. Oh, we've got someone in the chat called McGillicuddy, which reminds me of Mr. McGillicuddy from Money Plane.
I think McGillicuddy was a character's name from another Batman era TV show also.
Yeah.
Can't remember which one.
Sounds about right. So John opening here with Queen 9. Okay, Phylus.
Oh, boy.
Oh. Ace, Queen versus Aces, and I don't think Ace Queen is going to be able to get away from this when you factor in the shortness of Phylus's stack and the fact there is a 4.5k bounty in play.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it depends how fast Phylus wants to play this, right?
It
Just
is,
flats.
yeah. It would have been an interesting spot for Ace Queen anyway, right? Phylus would be shoving like just under 20 big blinds or right around 20 big blinds, and players aren't necessarily doing that with like Ace Jack and Ace 10 all that often. You know, hands you're in great shape against. So, but it would have been interesting. But we didn't have that eventuality. We have this version of the multiverse.
My gut instinct is that John would have made the call had it been a shove from Phylus, but yes, you're absolutely right. We end up going to the flop, and John can get away from this incredibly cheaply, having not connected at all. Checks to Phylus, who makes it 1.65 million, and John, stick it in the bin, wait for the next one. Oh, calls one street. Okay. But that'll be it.
That is it. That's what
John
you tell
is
yourself,
done.
too. In this spot, you go, I'm calling one, but that is it. Just
Yep.
one more.
John.
Again, I just don't think Phyllis has that many bluffs here.
Yeah. Okay, so Phyllis has worked their stack up to around 20 million. More pressure now on Bonbon and Smith Student. And significant pressure coming in 1 minute's time when we do go to the next blind level. Nine's opening here. It's Karagassi. And Karagassi is the last remaining Brazilian, right? We had 3 at the start of this final table. Karagassi is the last Brazilian standing, but does have quite a dominant chip lead right now.
Karagassi is the only one playing from Brazil, but I believe the other 5 players are Brazilians on vacation elsewhere.
Kings and 4s for Smith Student. Pretty good flop for the big blind. I'm trying to remember Karagassi, Joe. I mean, a 3rd place finish in a $109 Sunday Million this year. We've streamed every Sunday Million this year, so we must have seen this player before.
My memory isn't good, as you know, but I feel like I would remember the name R. Karagassi. I feel like it's one of the few maybe we didn't do or I didn't do.
I mean, there must only have been like 1 or 2, right?
Not many, yeah. I mean, we were away for some of them, weren't we?
Yeah, true.
Somebody get Keith Becker on the line. Doesn't he do them when we're not around? Who does them?
Nick Walsh, but he's on break. We're going to do some detective work. We've got Inspector Statrick on the job, trying to find out which week it was of 2022 when Karagassi came 3rd in the Sunday Million for 56K, and then we can work out who was actually streaming it.
What about Arlie? It might have been an Arlie week.
Ah, the Shabanimal.
I don't have enough Arlie in my life. I miss Arlie. Give Arlie a follow if you guys haven't. Again, not sure how many bluffs there are here. Nines is, well, bluff catcher.
So, basically, Statrick made a rare mistake, and there's a typo on the information I was given. Karagassi came 3rd in 2020, not 2022. So before we started streaming the Sunday Million, Karagassi had a 3rd place finish worth 56,000. That's one strike, Statrick. One strike.
Karagassi had a 3rd place finish in 2020 also. Not 2022. 2020 also. 2 different things. Man, Statrick was probably like, oh, man, as soon as we started talking about that, he's like, oh, God damn it. Come on, guys. Why are you chasing this thread? Maybe they'll forget about it. Maybe there'll be a big hand. Nope. Got him.
Three Brazilians in the final table. Why does it have to be that one who survives?
Sweating. Well, the blinds, they have gone up. So, time to move. Sunday Million mediums.
Bonbon shy of 15 bigs. Smith Student 16 bigs.
Eight's good.
Indeedy. Well, king high was good. The 8's just a little bit extra.
Better.
Yeah, and also means that your opponent is now drawing dead.
Quaragassi, not one to shy away from bluffs, though. So I was going to say if John doesn't do something here, John may find himself getting bluffed off the best hand, but does get the fold from pretty high.
Quaragassi still with the chip lead and raising the button. Phyllis defends with Jack-7 and has paired their Jack.
I mean, if Phyllis can hang on here, I think they can pick up some more chips. Quaragassi, seems like this is the c-betting board for Quaragassi style. Yep. I mean, you are in a pretty tough spot here. This is a big portion of your chips. You don't have top pair. You don't love it. Got to stick around. What a turn.
Excuse me.
Bless you? Yeah, that was... What a pro. I heard nothing.
Let's
What
go
a
the
pro.
mute button.
Wait, we have mute buttons? I thought you just held that in.
Nope.
I thought your eyeballs were going to pop
Joseph.
out.
Technology.
Ugh, who needs it? Jackson 7s. Gonna miss some value here unless Quaragassi gets OOL.
Checks it back.
And yeah.
Well, that's a nice pot for Phyllis, who's up to 25 big blinds now. And are we going to see a confrontation between the Bonbon and the Smith student?
Man, you don't love this spot either against an under-the-gun raise. Bonbon's proven to be a little looser with their under-the-gun opens. So, and we're also six-handed now. So you wouldn't always be behind, but I totally get it. I totally get just not wanting to mess around with that. If you're the first in the pot, you can easily ship it there or raise or whatever it is you want to do. But once you're not, you're in trouble.
Kings versus King Queen. Just picking out the hands likely to go to battle. Action folded to John HF90. Opens to 2 million. John playing from Malta. Low to mid-stakes player who mainly plays progressive knockout format MTTs.
I think you'll find it's John, J-O-N-H.
What?
His name is John, but he spells it J-O-N-H. Not J-O-N, not J-O-H-N, J-O-N-H. Special.
Continues with the Kings. 2 overs for Phyllis.
Man, King Queen might be tempted to see one more card. You're like, if I had a king or a queen, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, Zhao.
What would happen if I asked everyone to give me $1 on PokerStars? Would I get banned?
Yeah.
So glad I didn't do that. Joe Stapleton. No spaces.
Shoves small to big with ace-8.
Kitchens can't do it.
I mean, I didn't think we'd get 15 minutes into this session and still be six-handed. I figured we were on the cusp of losing someone. Are these guys going to let themselves blind down to like a 18 BB average before they finally get it in?
Just to counter that slightly, there really haven't been any hands that would necessitate big confrontations. I don't think anyone's playing extraordinarily cautious. The cooler machine is just sort of idling at the moment. And I assume, again, like unkinking the hose, it's all just going to kick off at some point.
Yeah, we might. We haven't needed you to crank it for a while, Joe.
Yeah.
We've had a pretty good run, but it may be that cooler machine needs to be reactivated. And bearing in mind it has been a while, it's going to require serious cranking, right?
So you have to prime it. The longer it's been since you've used it, the longer it takes to get it going. It's pretty much close to going into summer storage right now. John often going on the trappier side of things, misses value occasionally. Here we go. Bets $2 million.
Queen high though for Karagassi.
Ooh. Heroic, but incorrect.
Yeah, and has given the chip lead to John. I mean, it's close at the top. There's not much separating them, but officially John is in the catbird seat right now.
Jonh. Killing it. Thank you for your comment.
Pocket fives. Raises to 2 mil. And Karagassi has reclaimed the chip lead from John. All in with the sailboats.
Wow.
Interesting. 37
Shows on,
shove
I mean,
fours.
I don't hate it. Like Phyllis and Elmaris can do damage, but they're like in ICM jail, so you really, and Bomb Bomb's last to act, so I don't really hate it.
Okay, John.
Ooh, sourdough suited. Which is artisanal.
Same maneuver, and up over 40 million now.
You know, I say I don't hate it when we see Ace Five just like shove into Ace Queen and Ace Jack. Then I'll be singing a different tune. But at the moment,
of course,
it seems
of course,
fine.
it's very important to play results in this game.
So who's going to be the first player just to call it off, like with complete trash because it's been so long? They just like have a brain fart and they're like, nope, I just called with King 8.
Well, we've got Bonbon here with Ace Deuce of Spades. Folds.
Wow. Just folds
Karagassi.
Ace Deuce of Spades with no action in front of them?
In the small blind here with 7-6 of hearts. Just complete.
They would have run right into it. It's crazy.
Exactly. And John now raises with the ace-jack of clubs, $3.5 million. Called, and oh, hello, flush draw.
Okay, well, it's just
high.
unfair. Ace-jack is the better hand and should have had the flush draw.
Well, ace-jack is still ahead right now, but is a statistical underdog. Karagasi with the flush draw and live cards, facing a bet of $1.9 million.
Well, you're certainly not folding.
Calls and gets there on the turn. Plus, it's the jack of hearts. So that is a pair for John.
John does have some full house outs.
True dat.
John with the opportunity to just check back here, doesn't. And is going to juice this pot for those juicy strawberries.
3.8 million into 11.6 million. This will be a sizable pot. And we've referenced a couple of times that these guys have been very close at the top of the leaderboard. This is going to put some separation between them. The board is bricked out for John.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic river card for Koragasi, who didn't want to see the board pair, didn't want to see another heart. Checks
the third time, but it does get checked back. That being said, Karagasi now up to nearly 50 million, has pulled ahead of John. We are still six-handed at this final table.
Seen a lot of checking of value hands, and that's why obviously, you know, playing out of position is just no bueno. You've got a really tough decision on those rivers when you have a hand. Hey, do I bet and just get a fold? Do I try to elicit a bet? I don't think you're ever going for a check raise there, but, you know, it's just so easy for your opponent to check behind so many hands after you check there.
Ace-9 again for Bonbon. This one not suited. Folds it. Karagasi raising with Queen 4 suited. King Queen for Elmerex, all in from the big blind.
Not
been a while
gonna
since
do
we
it.
talked about Elmerex. Came into this final table as the chip leader. Arguably the most experienced and accomplished player at this final table. Already has a scoop title plus 3 runner-up finishes. $5.9 million in PokerStars earnings.
Is there any truth to the rumor that Elmerix's screen name is based on his 2 favorite cartoon characters, Elmer Fudd and Asterix?
Literally no truth to that whatsoever, but I love a hashtag fake fact.
Think about it, a Viking with a shotgun?
King 10 all in, 2 folds. Sixes. Raise and take it.
By the way, Dinesh Alt, Nasty Minder, who had that dominating performance yesterday in the the 5K, he posted on Facebook about having a plethora of PokerStars money and mentioned the Alt F4 comment. So he was definitely watching or had someone tell him what was going on yesterday. So congrats again.
Oh, good.
To Nasty Minder.
Nice. Should highlight the fact that Smith Student, as well as being down to 13 big blinds, is worth more than 7.5K, has that red target. So Smith Student needs to be careful, because if you get too low, you are going to get called super light.
That's by the way, that's ladder money. The pay jumps between 6th and 5th place are about $8,000. So we're getting to that point where finally the ladders are starting to be worth more than the bounties, but even still, $7,500 is $7,500.
So we've got a pair of threes against a gut shot here. It's Karagassi and John again. And Karagassi betting that pair of threes, 1.3 and 2.75. Gets called. Yeah, an ace or a six works now for John.
I'm liking the Karagassi-John rivalry we have developing here.
Yeah, this is the second not insignificant pot we've seen them play in the last 5 or 10 minutes. And a bet of 3.7 from John. Betting on the come.
What? John whiffs. So brutal. Didn't even make the pair. Usually when you're open-ended, you always make that annoying pair,
Yeah.
but not even in this case.
So what does John do now? Is this white flag of surrender time, or is this bluff the river and hope to push my opponent off something like a pair of threes?
I think that you don't want to show down 7 high here, and I think that your opponent can't be super strong on this board, or shouldn't be. I don't know if that's half pot for flopped bottom pair. This could work.
I mean, it looks value-y, to be fair. Can Karagassi find the call with just a pair of threes?
This would really hurt, John, if so. I've been in this spot so many times. You're just
Yeah,
like,
this is going to leave John with fewer than 20 bigs if Karagassi can find the call. On the flip side, Karagassi would have such a big chip lead. Thinking about it. Still has
Flavor Ravers is,
40
man, this
time
whole
back.
hand was brutal IMO. It was a little brutal.
And this is round 2. Last time, Karagassi got the better of John. Is Karagassi going to sniff out this bluff and make it 2-0?
Just putting them through the meat grinder, too, mentally. Tanking this long. Like, this is really awful. At least you don't have to worry about giving off live tells.
True. And down to the last 60 seconds of time bank now. Makes a call! And that is going to give Karagassi a stack of nearly 60 million as John drops below the 20 big blind mark. And now we have that dynamic that we've become so used to at the final tables we've been covering for the last month. One big stack, everyone else pretty short, and Karagassi in a really powerful position to abuse their opponents.
Karagassi.
All right, John, calm down.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
And John is behind on the turn, and John is out. KO. So that was 3 big confrontations between those two players. Karagassi comes out on top in all 3 of them, eliminates John in 6th place, takes the bounty, is up to nearly 80 million in chips. Let me just check John's payout. 20k in prize money, 7.5 in bounties.
That escalated quickly. So the rivalry, as soon as I mention it, is over. But it was fun while it lasted.
So look around the table, guys. The second biggest stack is Elmerix, who's got 25 big blinds. You've got Felis on 18 bigs, and you've got Bonbon and Smith Student on 13 bigs. This is Karagassi's final table to lose, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, not just looking at the chip discrepancies, but looking at the fact that Elmeric's the one player with the experience and the stack to do some damage, really shouldn't be playing big pots with Quaragassi as long as there's still these 3 short stacks in.
Wheel draw for Karagassi, and ace high still the best hand. And of course, we've referenced it a few times. 3 Brazilians came to this final table. 1 remains, and it is the player with all the chips. Is this going to be win number 50 for Brazil? That being said, I'm sure some other tournaments have concluded in the last couple of hours, and they probably already have like 56 titles already.
It could be, it could be win 58 we're about to witness.
Yeah.
Smith checking the gut shot. Quaragassi also with a gut shot.
Indeed. Well, ace high remains the best hand.
Yeah, you're kind of in jail here with queen 9 and not enough chips really to bluff, or even a small bluff is going to just get snap called by such a wide range, and you can't really afford much more than that.
Yeah. 82 million now for Karagassi. Pocket 9s for Bonbon. Ace 7 suited for Smith Student, who's down to 10 bigs. Blind's going to go up after this hand, by the way. 9 shove. It's all into call for Smith Student.
I mean, this dynamic, I think this is a call.
Big bouncy.
Oh, wait a second, though. Why would... No, maybe not. Maybe not a call. With Bonbon not being the shortest stack, you're the shortest stack. I think so. I think you got to do it.
Smith Student makes the call, and 9s are holding. 9's good. 9's hold. There goes that red bounty. There goes Smith Student in 5th place, taking us down to 4. Smith Student cashing out for 28.5 grand plus 15k in bounties. Bonbon is now worth $10,000.
The most. And what's the ladder everyone else just got? 10 grand? 11?
Yeah. Is that 11.5, right? A not insignificant amount of money as we see Elmerix and Bonbon here. 9-7 versus Queen Jack, blind v blind. Blind's
it's officially
now
bigger than
600k, 1.2 million. That's a straight, Joe. That is a straight to the king.
That's what we call a run. It's actually my girlfriend's favorite hand, Jack to King 9. Oh! Wow. Oh!
Elmerix turns, trips.
I mean, what card are you trying to hit when you call there other than a 9? Like, this is the worst card possible for Elmerix, unless this board can pair.
That's true. Not drawing dead. Still has roughly 23% equity. Bets 3.5 million. Gets called. Does not see the board pair. Does not make a full house. And look at the pot. 17.6 million.
It's a spade. Maybe that'll help a little bit. I think Elmerix kind of has to make a small bet here.
Question, what does Bonbon do in response, bearing in mind that this is a paired flushy board?
That's a good question. It's a good question. Well, you've got the Jack of Spades in your hand, right? So you're blocking some of the spades that way. You've got Queen Jack, which I think is going to block some of the 9 full houses.
Well, worth highlighting that Almerix has not bet yet and could still decide to check this. Goes for 3.6, goes relatively small. And is Bonbon going to see this as an opportunity to raise the stakes? No, just calls.
Yeah, that seems okay. I don't know. It's one of those situations where I would always say, I'm probably wrong, but I always say, oh, you only get action here if you're beat. It's really hard for like a random 9 that isn't a full house to call you when you raise there, or flush.
Virtual all-in for Tommy Brook. Shoves the button near enough with 3s, commits at least. Bonbon with 5s.
This seems pretty reasonable to isolate. You don't really want to let Quaragasi in. Obviously, you don't want to run into it with Quaragasi, but I think you can... Ooh. Maybe I'm just playing the hold cards. Maybe I'm just looking too much at the hold cards and not actually paying attention to the situation there. Maybe I was letting that affect my opinion too much.
So Phylus is the shortest stack right now, has the Grafton, 10-9 of clubs. Karagasi with Queen 6 of clubs. Shoves on Phylus, who folds. $10-4 of diamonds on the button. With the 2 shortest stacks in the blinds, Karagasi says, punish them. Almerix versus Bonbon. It's a walk for Bonbon. King Jack versus Queen 8. Kojak completes. Queen 8 checks. And it's a Jack high flop. Advantage Bonbon. A reminder, Bonbon is playing from Ukraine, a high-volume, low-stakes sit-and-go player who had a second-place finish in a Bounty Builder Series event a couple of years ago. And
interesting
we've
float
got
there.
To the turn here. Yeah, I
interesting
kind of
float
thought this
from
would go
Quaragasi.
bet fold. Maybe a second barrel gets the job done.
Yeah, I mean, you really picked up absolutely nothing here by this ace on the turn. Maybe you can take a bluff spot there. Bomb checks, but didn't give the opportunity, luckily.
Yeah, ace-8 suited for Tommy Brook. And with that stack, understand the committing raise. Prepared to get the rest in. Bonbon with ace-king. Shoves. Tommy Brook calls it off, and it is a domination situation. And no 8. Ace-king holds. Another KO as we lose the start of day chip leader. Tommy Brook from Finland eliminated in 4th place. Tommy cashing for nearly $40,000 plus 9K in bounties. And Bonbon is now a player again, is now a contender with a stack of 57 million and a bounty worth 12.5K.
Fun flop here for both players. Man, a massive confrontation between these two would be an absolute tragedy.
I mean, a massive confrontation would be music to Philus's ears.
And the 4 on the river is going to be good.
Phylus hovering around the 10 big blind mark right now.
Oh, what happened to the hammer avatar? Now that it's finally made an appearance. And raising. Yeah, get after it. Come on, Phylus. You're in third place. This is the easiest decision. This is easier than choosing Charles Barkley for your pickup basketball team. Oh. And now you can get mid-value. I mean, not that you would get any value anyway.
Well,
from 7 deuce.
I would like to point out that Karagassi's got bottom pair here, and there is the potential for it to always come 7 or another deuce to come on the turn of river.
No. That's not happening.
I mean, if Phylus keeps calling rather than getting it in, there is the danger.
This is an interesting way to play this hand. I was not a fan of it to start off with, but if somehow Phylus reverse value bets 3 streets here, I'll be very impressed.
Yeah. Okay, no 7, no deuce. Omar Skin says, oh man, I left for 5 minutes to get my food and half the table is gone. You snooze, you miss out. We did say that something had to give. Having got through the last session without losing any players, we knew coming back from the last break that we were likely to lose 50% of the table. Expecting to end this session either three-handed or heads up. It's just pretty simple math.
You know what they say, you go get food, and we lose 3 players for good.
Equally, I understand the need to eat. And I'm a big fan of putting food before pokertainment. As Phylus manages to get up to 16.5 million, has a 6 here. Oh, Karagassi with kings. Raises to 2.4, and is Phylus going to take a stand? Didn't with ace 8. How does he feel about ace 6? Okay, now we see if the old adage is true. No ace on this desk. And that will see Phylus KO'd in third place. We are going heads up, ladies and gentlemen. And it is Karagassi from Brazil against Bonbon from Ukraine. Karagassi with a 2-1 chip advantage. By the way, Phylus cashed out for $56K and $8,500 in bounties.
Phylus under B for bust out.
Let's do the mathematics. We know that both players are going to get 94.5K from the prize pool. First and second pay almost the same. And how we calculate what they're still playing for is to take the 2 advertised bounties, multiply that by 2, and add them together. So 12.5 plus 7 is near enough 19. It's around 19.5. 19.5 times 2 is 49? No, 39. So $39,000 is what's up for grabs here. That is what they are playing for. Near enough 40K.
Cool.
Oh.
Flamin' Berry.
Thank you, John, for the reminder.
I think I never hit that one. Seen enough Flaming Berry in my life.
I still love the
Speaking-
story about the bathrobe. Oh, wow.
Yeesh.
Karagassi drops down to 94 million. Bonbon up to 56 million. Was it a bathrobe that Barry Greenstein was wearing when he basically flaunted his manhood in your face?
I mean, I think that's a little unfair to Barry. I was staying at his house free of charge, and he liked to wear a bathrobe, and it fell open. I don't think he was necessarily flaunting anything, but you know, we did get an eyeful of Flaming Barry. It's so weird that when you're young and you are doing these things, like I lived at Barry's house, Amanda Negrano and I were roommates, and I slept on her couch. All of these stories that like people tell later, and like when you're doing it, it doesn't seem like that big a deal. But now I'm like, yeah, I was homeless for a while. Like that's really how the people who really want to make it seem like a bootstrap story will tell it. I slept on couches. I had to take a look at Barry Greenstein's ding dong for a night and out of the cold.
Okay. Karagassi back over 100 million. Now we've got Ace-8 versus Ace-3.
Yeah, I felt like that call from Karagassi with the fours is just sort of a little positive tilt, maybe. Just like, okay, I can put this away. I haven't put a foot wrong. I can make these calls. I'm crushing. Vamo Brazil. And now things are a little bit more even. Whoops. So Ace-3's got some ways to win this. 9 of clubs ain't one of them.
No.
Bluffing is one of them, though.
Well, you just check it back with ace high and just be unlucky that the other player also has ace high with a better kicker. So we know that if Karagassi wins this, it will be at least the 50th victory for Brazil this series. And that means they will be guaranteed to at least match their record from last year.
With only a third of the tournaments left to play.
It is crazy.
I appreciate there's some folks out there calling for me to write a book, but it's going to have to wait until I'm no longer employable by anyone.
By which point he will have forgotten everything.
That's true.
I look forward to you sitting down to write that book because I know I'm going to get a number of phone calls, emails, messages. Where was that? Which city were we in? What year was that?
I'm just going to have to pay you to be a co-writer on it so I can just turn the whole thing into you go, wrong, wrong, we never went there. This was not that year. I didn't even meet you till 2011. This is just spelled wrong. You weren't in Villamura. Top pair here for Karagassi.
It's the oldest cliche of when given the choice of telling the truth or the legend, tell the legend.
I mean, that was what was genius. I don't know if anybody out there read Norm's book, Norm Macdonald's book. It was called Based on a True Story, and the whole thing was, about how fallible your memory is.
Yeah, of course. Look, no one's memory is perfect, but some memories are more imperfect than others, shall we say?
Mine's quite imperfect, yes. Cool, picking up a flush draw on the river, too.
Piece for Bonbon. Pair of threes, but no good against the pair of kings for Karagasi. Should reference the bounties won so far, by the way. Bonbon has claimed $25,000 in bounties. Karagasi, $14K. And Karagasi opening with Queen 3 up against 10-5, and it's a pair of fives against a pair of threes on this board.
Three threes. 3 cubed. And getting bet into, you'll love to see it. Can Karagasi avoid raising?
This could be a decisive hand. So far, they've traded minor blows, and there's not been that much of a swing. But this feels significant.
So Bomb, I think, even though this deuce isn't a particularly bad card, just has to give it up at this point after getting called twice. And Karagasi can very confidently value bet this. Once Bonbon, who went bet, check, I would be inclined to bet relatively small here.
Yeah, that is probably a tad too greedy. Maybe hoping that Bonbon has a king here rather than a 5.
Yeah, you're trying to missed hearts here.
Although we have seen some bold hero calls. Maybe trying to represent missed hearts?
Bingo.
Anyway, end result, 122 million plays 29 million. Significant advantage to the Brazilian.
Four nine limping in. Heads up. Seems fine. And now going to have to give up the 4-9.
King 4 button raise. Bum. Folds.
Nom for Bum. Not yet.
Has Bonbon had pocket 8s? Have we had nums for Bonbon?
I don't think so. Dana was mentioning that earlier, that she couldn't wait for noms for Bum, but I don't think it's happened.
Disappointing, but not unexpected.
$69, maintaining its stranglehold over 49.
The Gold Rush hand.
Yeah. Old 49ers. Oh, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's open-ender. That's prime disappointment time for Bonbon.
Three, 4, 5, 6. No. check from Karagasi. Any attempt to steal this one, Bonbon? Or are you happy to go on break with 24 million chips?
Go on break. It's 5 minutes long. Check it back. Bomb, bomb, bomb.
Really thinking about this one and does decide to go for it.
Ooh.
2.6. Now.
Hero call again. Yes! Poor Bomb Bomb.
And that is going to take us to what could be the final break of this final table. Heads up in the $530 Sunday Million PKO. Are Karagasi from Brazil playing 130 million. Bonbon 73 from Ukraine playing 21.6 million. The heads-up battle continuing inside of 5 minutes. Both guaranteed 94.5K from the prize pool, playing for a final bounty of just shy of $40,000. Nick Walsh back in the mix. Nick, I appreciate you were on break during that last session. Don't know whether you got to see any of the short-handed action. We did what we promised you. We got down from 6 to 2, so we are now heads up. We're in your comfort zone. But clearly, things going the Brazilians' way right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You guys know I was a big fan of Bonbon's play, and obviously getting down to the final two, just showing how well he's playing. But Karagasi also totally flexing as well. Big fan of the poker prophet, just out there crushing at the moment. I did watch all of the shorthanded. I went out and grabbed a kebab, as you guys and I like to do. You guys don't know this behind the scenes. I sprint out, I grab a kebab, try not to lock myself out of the house midstream. Come back, chow it down, watch the rest. Shorthanded was awesome. It went really fast, and as we've come to expect in so many streams, the KO versions of these events tend to go real fast on final tables, and this was no different. Lots of setups there as well. But excited to see the heads up. It looks like it's going pretty quick in one direction at the moment, though.
Yeah, and again, Joe, we highlighted when Karagasi had that huge chip lead, when we still had 4 or 5 players, we said, here we go, same old story. We've seen it so many times in recent weeks, and it seems to have rung true every single time. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but when a player amasses sometimes 60, 70% of the chips in play, we've not seen any amazing comebacks. And the way things are going, I just get the sense that Bonbon's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, Karagasi not exactly playing the same style that we've seen the other overwhelming chip leaders adopt over the last couple of days, but still, it's the overall story is still shaping up the same way. We did see a slight contender with John H., who ended up taking the chip lead at one point, but unfortunately just could not overcome Karagasi in their little rivalry, despite having position on Karagasi. It just all 3 times ended up going Karagasi's way. And yeah, I agree with you, James, that it would be quite an upset at this point for the Brazilian to not take it down.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens on the other side of the break. Nick, we've referenced a few times this will be yet another win for Brazil, and I know we've had a lot of fun highlighting just how dominant a force they've been this series, but that's been the case with every major series we've covered over the last 2 years. Brazil is either near the top or at the top of the country's leaderboard. And Joe, you've referenced this from time to time. There are certain countries where maybe 5 or 6 years ago or a decade ago, they weren't the joke of the poker world, but maybe you didn't necessarily think of them as a particularly poker proficient nation. And of course, when you see some of those hands from the old LAPT shows that we covered on those retro streams a few months back, you think, oh wow, like, Brazilian poker players, they're very emotional, they're a bit crazy. What changed? How has this country developed? How has it created so many really strong online players?
I think you gotta give them credit for doing it in reverse. Like, they started for the positive attitude, the law of attraction. They started with the bravado. They started with the passion, right? They started off loving the game and then got good at it afterward. And you have to respect that. It wasn't like this slow burn where poker took a while to catch on as people got good at it. People absolutely loved the game from the very beginning, and then they started getting good at it. And that's a really fun way to do it.
Yeah, if I could
Yeah,
add as
no.
well, I think that just generally, like, the way the Brazilians like have this sense of family about them, like Brazilians know Brazilians and all Brazilians know Brazilians and they're all part of the same family. I think like a bunch of guys got real good and then they're like, hey, I'm Brazilian, teach me how to play poker. And they're like, oh, you're Brazilian? Oh, of course, brother, whatever, yeah, come here. And I think that lends itself to that as well, perhaps.
Cool. Well, there is every chance, there is a strong chance that we get another Brazilian winner this evening. A reminder of the stack situation. 130 million chips for the Brazilian player, R. Carragasi. Just 21.6 million for Bonbon 73, as the players are about to return from break. And we are at the 600k, 1.2 million blind level, and blinds going up pretty soon. And that is going to put Bonbon in a very awkward situation.
James, this is my classic. I should know the answer to this. I know that this will be at least 50 wins for Brazil, but have any of our streams been won by a Brazilian yet?
Yes, Rodrigo Celoan.
Oh, way early.
Well, all in with ace-9, and I don't see this getting called by 7-5.
Yeah.
King Clancy says, I don't understand why they call this the Sunday Million. Because it starts on a Sunday and it has a 1 million guaranteed prize pool. Thank you for your question.
How about, hey, King Clancy, how about King Bancy? Because you banned. Thank you for your comment.
Pocket nines here, definitely going to want to do something. I think nines are strong enough just to raise non all in if he does kind of have a range like that here. I think the shove is also cool when you've got the dead money too. As we always highlight, guys, this is definitely more my wheelhouse. The heads up shorter stat game, absolutely. And 4.2 is the correct size as well if you want to play according to GTO at this stack depth. So I like this a lot, as opposed to just being reckless and just shipping it. You want to shove your small pocket pairs there, and then once you get to 8s and 9s, you want to start making raises non all in because they have much better playability post flop when your opponent's limp call. Ace-8, this could be a trap. He could limp here, he could limp or raise it. Bonbon's getting to the point where he could shove hands like King 5 off versus a limp at this stack depth. It's a little bit on the deeper side than you want. So I prefer the raise with the ace-9 suited, but around 14-ish big blinds effective or less, you can definitely put some traps in with these very, very nice suited ace-x combos.
Well, Bonbon's 5, still good.
Yeah, he should probably lead this turn a lot of the time. He's going to have the best hand a lot when there's a check on the flop here. So you probably want to protect your 5, especially when the 6 isn't going to change a whole lot. Your opponent might check a 6 on the flop, but not so many combos remain when the board comes and pairs the board. Ace-9 might even call the turn here as well. I mean, for the same reasons why he was checking flop, he's going to have the best hand on the turn a bunch too when the board doesn't really develop all that much. And might get a hero call here as well. This kind of a run out is pretty good for ace-9 of clubs, got to be honest. Bonbon might pick up on that.
Quirigasi's hero calls have not all been correct, but have been profitable overall. It's just been overwhelmingly more profitable for Quirigasi to call down. So I do think that we may see another call down here, depending on what the bet size is.
Yeah. I mean, this is not out of the question at all. I think ace-9 is going to be the best hand a lot. It's just whether or not he perceives Bonbon to have a bluff on such a dry board, right? Like, for the most part, I think Bonbon's played in a way which would indicate that he's going to recognize good opportunities to bluff, and this probably isn't a great one, the way the board is run. So he's going to pick up on that, make the fold. Very good, because you could be tempted there for sure.
Okay, well, has a 20 big blind stack as we go to the 700,000, 1.4 million blind level. And opening here with 4-3 suited against the Jack-4 of Carragasi.
Leona says, I want to be the next Brazilian. I took poker serious and studying for it. Leona, you are the next Brazilian. Thank you for your comment.
It's like America's Next Top Model. We're going to have the next Brazilian
America's Next
player,
Person.
and anyone's allowed to enter.
I thought you were going to say, you are the next Brazilian to be banned Thank you for your question. You're banned. But I'm glad you went the nice way instead.
It's hard to ban someone being that earnest.
No, of course. That's what I was going to say. I was like, Joe would be so cruel, but it was right there. The moment was there. I could see it.
So diamond draw here for Karagassi, who also has the best hand right now. Not anymore. It is domination rotation. That 3 on the river gives Bonbon the best hand.
Just bet
This could
5
be
million on the
Bomb's
river.
comeback.
Just bet 5 million right here. Easy bluff every single time. 5 million. Go away. Never come back. Boom.
Oh.
That's how you play poker right there. That's how you do it, my man.
Wow.
Love it. Absolutely love it. There's been some really, really awesome spots so far this session. I'm enjoying this one, guys.
8-4 against King 4. Again, another domination situation. And I imagine Bonbon will at least call here with a king.
This is weird. Nobody hit anything.
Still good.
Crazy Carl, anyone can ban you. You're not bulletproof just because you have a nickname.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. 8-4 off. You fired once. Do you fire turn? Interesting spot. I don't know. I don't know if I love the turn bet, but Karagassy's pretty much got the handle of most of these spots. I don't see why you couldn't bet. Get king high to fold a bunch. Bonbon, how do you feel?
That bum.
I know
Needs to do
that.
something in the next 5 seconds.
Yeah, Bonbon has made some kind of cool moves that Nick's picked up on when they've had opportunities to be the aggressor, when they've had like a little bit of the board. Bonbon really has been on the back foot for this entire heads-up battle, and is, I mean, calling it a battle, I guess, is probably not even accurate. It's a bit of one guy throwing punches and the other in the corner like this. At the moment, it's really hard to come back from something like that, stylistically and literally.
Yeah.
It's true.
I think so too. Yeah, and in fairness to Bonbon as well, it's not like we've seen many heads up during this scoop where it felt like one player was just outplaying the other. I think Bonbon just hasn't. Oh,
here we go. Call. King 10 at risk. And ace high is holding, and ace high is good, and it is over. Bonbon is KO'd, and that is going to give us another Brazilian winner on the Spring Championship of Online Poker 2022, because it's Karagassi who's going to get the trophy and get paid a pretty decent sum, nearly $150,000 when you add together payouts and head prizes. Bonbon 73 from Ukraine is the runner-up and gets $119,500. Look, we said it during the break, it was going to be hard for Bonbon to make a comeback. It only took 8 minutes of play for Karagassi to close out that heads-up duel. And yes, another scoop win for Brazil. Congratulations to Karagassi. So Nick, you are going to be with us next week. We are going to close out Scoop main event coverage, and I'm excited to follow that 10K No Limit Hold'em main event.
I am too, guys. You guys know I have a lot of fun with these situations, but the big ones are the big ones, and the main events are huge. You guys don't miss it. Please join us next week. It's going to be great. We're all going to be here taking care of you and following the action.
Absolutely. And Joe, you and I are back tomorrow with another 10K event. Griffin's going to be with us for the $10,000 buy-in Super Tuesday High Roller. Just another final table, but again, should be an exciting lineup at that stake.
Exciting lineup, and also, look, that's double the buy-in of anything we've covered, at least since we did the Super High Roller last week. So just expect some big pots and some big money getting pushed to those players.
Yeah, so we'll be back at the usual time tomorrow. That is 6 p.m. UK time, 7 p.m. Central European time. But for now, from Nick Walsh, Joe Stapleton, and me, James Hartigan, it's good night from the PokerStars Arena.